Hello, Philadelphia! I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gorgano Show!
Good morning, everybody. Well, happy Tuesday across the Delaware Valley. Beautiful Tuesday heading into Memorial Day weekend. It is the Anthony Gargano Show presented by Rite Aid, your neighborhood pharmacy. Visit your local Rite Aid today. Stock up on allergy relief or catch up on immunizations for RSV, shingles, and more. Walk in, schedule a vaccine appointment at riteaid.com. All right, a lot of things to do today. It is Dallas Sucks today. So in honor, come on, it's Dallas Sucks Day. Had to wear it. So it's the Texas Rangers, who couldn't be more benign, right? Coming to town, the defending champion Texas Rangers, Arlington, Texas. All right, stone's throw from AT&T Stadium and Jerry World. But they're, of course, the benign Dallas franchise. And it's funny because do we really hate the Stars? Nah. Do we hate the Mavericks? Not really. I kind of like Luka. And Texas, the Rangers, but it's Dallas. So F Dallas today. That's the theme of the show. Baldy, who actually played for the Cowboys, will join us. We're going to talk about what it is about that team that has riled us up. We're going to have some fun with that in lieu of the Rangers coming to town. And, you know, it's interesting because the Cowboys got all those primetime games. They are still in the hearts and minds, the America's team. They just are. As much as we hate it, as much as we want to lay claim to it, right? It's them. They are, for some reason, they have a hold on America. It's bizarre. But we'll explore that today, have some fun. Leg day. So Tim Legler will join us a little bit later on. So we'll have Baldy and Legs. Jimmy Gorecki, a legendary street skateboarder who is now an incredible in the world of fashion. He did a collab with the Eagles and Kelly Green. Really great guy, great Philadelphian. He's in from L.A. He's going to join us today. So we're going to have a lot of fun. But I had the Rangers coming to town are a really good test for everybody talking about how the Phillies haven't played anybody, which I think is nonsense. I think baseball is different than every other sport. Like, you could say that stuff in football. Well, who'd you play? You played an 0-7 team and a 1-6 team and a 3-4 team. But you can't say that in baseball because baseball is about productivity over the long period of time, right? Like when you can only play, right, who's in front of you, but it's a test of, of staying power. It's that sort of test that it's a daily grind. So that's why you see, upsets all the time in baseball, right? Like you see bad teams, rise up and win a game or two, or maybe even win a series because it's just the grind of baseball. And the fact that the Phillies take a 20-game over 500 start, right? 34-14 into tonight's game, that matters. That means something. The best start since 76 and 93. They've tied it after 48 games. And for those people that say, well, play somebody, you're playing the defending champs. Now, I will say that their pitching, the Rangers' pitching hasn't been good. They had gotten off to a little bit of a slow start, but they still have a great lineup. So the Rangers on the mound today, Ranger versus the Rangers. Good test because they have some big, right-handed bats. Garcia, who's a beast, who's a monster. Semien, who's a monster. Even Corey Seager, the shortstop, can hit lefties. So it's a good test. They have a good lineup. They can bang the ball around a little bit. So it'll be fun. So we kick off F Dallas Day. But what I want to start about is I had a dream. And it was the most bizarre dream. In fact, 3 of the 4 teams were in the dream. Now, sometimes I rarely dream of sports. Once in a blue moon, I'll dream about playing sports, but I don't really dream much about sports. But last night, I had a dream. And I'm going to bring our boys in a second to try to interpret, because I know VG has all kinds of dream books and everything, and I know that JP taps into that kind of world. I'm looking for meaning. So in the dream, I'll start with the Flyers, because it was one of those, dreams aren't linear, right? It's not a beginning, middle, and end story. They are, haphazard, and they make no sense. So I'm walking on a frozen pond, all right? And on the frozen pond, Danny Briere is shooting pucks into an open net by himself. And I walk up. Now, it's weird because it's ice, it's a frozen pond, yet I'm walking up, and I remember looking down. I'm like, wow, I'm in sneakers, and it feels like whatever, right? It didn't feel, and he's on skates. So anyway, I see Danny, and I asked Danny, dude, what's going on, man? Like the whole Mitchkov thing yesterday, I guess that was in my mind. We did a Flyers retrospective from the Cup team. I guess that was on my mind. But I'm asking him about what they're going to look like and what he's got in store. And he's like, dude, that's why I'm here. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure this whole thing out. What are we doing? And he's asking me. And I'm like, well, you got Mitchkov coming, right? So that's your big start. And I go, where's Jonesy at? And he goes, I don't know where Jonesy's at, right? And it was this weird conversation with Danny Briere. Then somehow I'm in a party, a cocktail party. And in the cocktail party, I got a drink. The Sixers had just lost again, right? In the playoffs. They had just lost. And people were like, oh, they were all devastated. And I was not devastated. I'm having my cocktail kind of like unfazed. Well, who do I see and run into but Daryl Morey? So I'm talking to the eel, and the eel's going, dude, how come you're not upset? And I go, I'm supposed to be upset. I've been through this a million times, right? How many times is this team going to lose? All right? I'm kind of numb, eel. I'm numb. And then Morey is saying, well, I guess you've been through the process longer than I have, because I'm devastated over this. I can't believe it. I need to figure this out. And then that was one of the common threads about figuring the whole thing out. And then I walk out of this cocktail party, and I run into Bryce Harper. And I'm like, dude, what's up, bro? I'm like all fired up. And he's like, you got to stop talking about us. And I'm going, what do you mean? You got to stop talking about it. You got to stop talking about us. I go, stop talking about it. I can't stop talking about it. This is a great story. The Phillies are an amazing story. There's no way I could stop talking about you guys. He's like, dude, it's all about October. What happens now, you're just doing like a disservice to us by hyping us up. I go, well, I'm not trying to hype you up. I mean, you guys are 34 and 14. It's incredible baseball. Every night is great theater. He's like, dude, stop talking about us, and whatever. And that's all I remember. So I'll invite my man, VG. You have many violations, Greg Caputo. You have many dream books. Can you help me on this thing?
I have dream books in my house.
And I know.
For you, I've taken a couple psychoanalytic classes.
Look, the ghost is there on the other side of it. Yeah.
So I've taken some of the psychoanalysis, Freud stuff, and I would say, Anthony, listening to you right off the bat, I would say you need to get a life. You're dreaming about sports, right?
That's terrible. It's the truth. How in the world can I dream about sports?
So I do know about ice.
You figure about dreaming Like if I dreamt about supermodels,
Yes, that would
that's
be
one
normal.
thing, right? Like that would be, I get it. But I'm dreaming about sports.
Winning an Academy
Danny Briere
Award.
Yes.
For best screenplay, Mr. Anthony Gargano. Yeah.
Exactly. Anything, right? If I'm dreaming about any of this stuff.
Yes.
Right? Like,
then you're
like I wrote this great, incredible film that's, but I'm not dreaming about that. I'm dreaming about Danny Briere, Daryl Morey.
Yes.
How can I dream about Daryl Morey?
This is what's happened to us.
And Bryce Harper. And Bryce wasn't even bubbly Bryce. He was kind of chastising me for talking him up.
Well, Bryce seems to be a voice of reason. The other two, I think they fall right in line. Ice, I do know that ice in dreams can tend to be people who are stuck, frozen, isolated, which is kind of how we feel with the Flyers and the Sixers, I feel, in a way.
Yes.
So that makes sense. Unfulfilled, maybe even. And then you go to a cocktail party, which alcohol, more numbing, right? You see more,
Wow,
you
you're
just got
a
to
genius.
numb yourself some more.
Yes.
So this is all about just being stuck and frozen and numb.
So you think the Sixers and the Flyers, look, the Flyers are on a frozen pond.
Yes.
Danny Briere, by himself, shooting pucks into an empty net.
But he was wearing skates.
Yes.
You were not.
No.
So you got no traction. You're going nowhere. You're just stuck here on this ice waiting for the Russian.
Wow. What? You got to be kidding me. Don't worry about it, JP. Don't worry about it. Just sit down.
He's at the door.
Okay. Well, don't worry about it. Just wait until the segment's over. Because just say hello to everybody.
What's going on, guys?
It's JP.
Trying to get Jimmy, but he's out there doing some kickflips. I was loving this conversation, because I don't know if I told you this story, but 2014, I remember exactly. I had a dream of Chip Kelly and Nick Foles hoisting the Vince Lombardi trophy in Miami, and then it was like 3 years later, they did win the Super Bowl. So I know where we're going along lines with this dream. And I don't know if we're gonna get the exact something good gonna happen in Philadelphia, but I just remember my dream personally, because I'm like you. I don't dream a lot about Philly sports, but that was the one dream
but
that just
once in a while
stuck
I
out to
dream
me.
about it. Yeah. Dude, it's
You
interesting.
guys are weird. I can't remember the last time I dreamt about sports.
Oh, we're talking
I know.
10 years ago.
Hey, listen, as you wear the Edmonton Oiler hat.
Yeah, big game last night. Big win.
Congratulations, Oil. All right. The Oil with the big win over the Knucks last night.
You wore your Messi jersey, man.
Yeah. I was rooting Knucks because of Tockett.
Yeah, I understand
I'm a
that.
Tockett guy.
I got you. Well, he's gone, so hop on the oil train now.
No, you're right. I'm definitely weird about.
You guys need to get out more.
About dream about sports. Listen, we're all we do every day is talk sports.
Talk sports, and then you're going to baseball games and football practices.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to vary it up a little bit.
I know. So I love your. So his point is that we're stuck. I'm stuck.
Okay.
And that the Sixers are stuck, right? The Flyers are stuck.
Sense of numbness.
Because even I remember saying that to the Eel, to Daryl Morey, that I'm numb right now.
I mean, yeah, you could bring up a good point, because like as I'm watching these NBA playoffs, obviously I take it back to my Sixers, right? I'm trying to think
Tonight,
like,
Eastern Conference Finals.
I know. Boston,
right?
Indiana.
Boston and Indiana.
Pieces.
But like the thing is, because it's like a lot of
Larry Bird.
A lot of these teams in the Final Four here in the NBA, like they have a 1 and 2, right? Like we have our 1 and 2, but these teams also have a supporting cast. How are we going to get a good supporting cast?
I mean, that's true. He's got to build it from scratch.
And we'll see if Daryl can do that. But that's like the main question.
Listen, he's got a whole blank canvas.
That is true.
Great.
I mean, if he was
blank.
in my dream, there's only one thing I say to him. If you even think about bringing Tobias Harris back, we got serious issues,
He's not
Daryl.
bringing Tobias Harris.
I know, that's the only thing. That's my dream.
Yeah, no,
I
he's
dream,
a-
if I
that's a
dream
nightmare.
sports, it's Tobias
No.
in Detroit.
Yeah, no, he's a nightmare. He's not bringing that back.
Nightmare.
No, I mean,
They already
that-
printed the jerseys in Detroit. That's a bias 12.
No, I mean, listen, that's not happening. But it was odd. Let me ask you a question. How come the Eagles were not represented in the dream?
Because you're hopeful. You got hope. They make you feel good. You think they're contenders this year. This is all about just being stuck and miserable
Yeah, but I
and
know the
disappointed.
Phillies- real.
But I know the Phillies are like Bryce Harper.
Yeah, but what did Bryce tell you?
Was chastising me.
Yeah, he's like, calm it down. Stop
He
talking
was
about it.
chastising. Like, dude, don't do it.
He gave
Stop
you.
talking about us.
He gave you. We got this. We got this.
No, he's like, shut up. Stop talking. Stop hyping us up.
Act like you've been here, cuz. Just relax. We'll be there in October. We're good.
I don't know, dude. I got to tell you. I think there's a more hidden meaning.
More importantly, do you remember, was Bryce wearing any Fanatic gear? Fanatic headband? Fanatic shoes?
No. He was dressed like not in uniform. It was regular like street clothes.
Did you tell Tam about these dreams?
No.
You think
No,
you're
she already
crazy.
thinks I'm way a loser, right? So that just adds to it, okay? No, but the whole idea, and I guess this is what was odd about it. I like your ice thing because the frozen pond of Briere. Now you should feel good about them, no?
Oh, for sure. I mean, listen, this Mitchkov stuff is going to be super difficult, but I mean, if anyone's going to get it done, it's Danny.
Well,
and Keith.
listen, the minute that he gets out of that contract, that's it.
He wants to come here. It's clear
I
as
gotta
day.
say, what tells you if anyone's going to get it done? It's Danny. He's got no track record.
What do you mean, Fedotov? It took 3 years to get him over here.
Yeah, I know, but it's not like he's Grant Fuhrer right now. I mean, we need him to build a team.
And also do like some of the other deals. Like he seems savvy. Like this is going to be tough, right? Like dealing with one of the best players, young players in Russia, trying to get him over here is definitely going to be tough. But just the track
Yeah, but
record-
I mean, I just think it's all on them, right? It's less on the Flyers and more on
Yeah,
them.
I mean-
it's like what their compensation is. They know that kid wants to come over here and play.
I mean, his track record is Cutter Gauthier bailed. I mean, I'm not so comfortable with the track record right now.
well,
You
how
scared
much
me.
is
now
that?
I'm back in the wilderness on the pond.
Yeah, man.
I'm on the pond.
But how much is Cutter getting fed that Chuck BS when he was here? And
Yeah.
then Danny comes in and he's like, no, this is exactly what's going to happen. Cutter's like, mount.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I don't have that trust. I have anxiety and fear that we
Provorov
have.
trade?
It's a Giroux part 2 where we have this great player and surrounded by a bunch of schlubs.
You know what's interesting though? And this was funny. The Morey thing. Morey was devastated, and I wasn't. And I was more like, dude, I how many times I've seen him lose, right? Like, I mean, how many playoff failures I've been in through with this team. All right, I'm like, I don't know what to say.
A 12-year process at this point. Like,
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what to. I was like, Daryl, I don't know what to say. And he's like, I guess I got to give it up to you. He said, I guess I got to give it up to you because you've suffered more than I have.
I liked it. Was he like smoking jacket, nice cocktail in hand,
Yeah.
like a little refined?
Yeah, no, it was actually it was a great conversation, and it was like one of those makeshift bars, and we were standing there. I was like, "Yo, dude,"
Oh, the little like temporary bar they wheel into a party.
Yeah, it was
Nice.
like a hotel ballroom.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, that's almost a little like Shining-ish. Like, the big
It was
party in the
crowded.
grand ballroom of The Shining.
Yes, it was. It was crowded.
Kubrick.
And then when I walked out is where I ran into Bryce. When he was in the hallway.
Well, he's not partying. He's outside.
Yeah, he was outside.
Doesn't
of the
imbibe,
room.
yeah.
He was in. It was in like a hallway
Yes.
leading outside the ballroom.
So the bigger question is, cuz
Yeah,
what did you eat before you went to bed?
Yeah, or smoke or drink.
I did have a nice gin lemon last night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No wild mushrooms.
No. I had those genius things. I didn't take that.
Some ayahuasca.
Yeah, no. Anyway, all right. So thank you for your interpretation, boys. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
That was popping off. Brought to you by Olipop. Find your favorite Olipop flavor at your nearest Wawa. Always a lot of fun. All right. So coming up, a couple things. One, we're going to talk to my man Jimmy Gorecki. Look at that gear. He's
Man's
all
dripping.
about the Kelly Green.
Kelly Green shoelaces.
Yeah, well,
dude.
that's his whole thing, man.
Yeah.
He did a collab with the Eagles.
The birds.
Like, Jimmy's a fascinating dude.
yeah.
Norristown, one of the original skaters, right? Like, he made, like, he's the OG of that Love Park. That's Jimmy G, man. And then he goes to LA. He's doing incredible designs, right? Awesome stuff, man. So we're going to talk to Jimmy. Jimmy's going to show us some of the things he's got going on. So Jimmy's coming with us. Then Baldy coming up straight out. We'll have Brad, the big brain, back with the daily grind. Baldy and Legs. So chock full. A lot of good stuff
awesome.
happening. All right. Let me tell you about. Why don't you talk about?
Yeah,
Rite Aid?
let's talk a little bit about Rite Aid, ladies and gentlemen. I know we've been talking a lot about allergies, but we're going to get close after the summer into some vaccine season, ladies and gentlemen. And if you guys are considering vaccines, consider Rite Aid. Protect yourself and your family by staying up to date with your immunizations. Rite Aid pharmacists are specially trained and certified in immunizers. Most vaccines are no cost with insurance through government plans like Medicare Part D. Unsure what vaccines you need? Get a personalized recommendation from a Rite Aid pharmacist. Here's some of the vaccines that Rite Aid can offer here through their pharmacies: COVID-19, shingles, pneumonia, tetanus, whooping cough, chickenpox, and much, much more here. So here's what you got to do, ladies and gentlemen. Select Rite Aid stores have a dedicated pharmacist ready to administer vaccines and answer all your questions. Have questions on immunizations that you may need. Not sure if you are up to date? Feel nervous to ask questions? A Rite Aid pharmacist will take the time to make your personalized recommendations based off your health history and discuss any concerns. No questions are too small. Just walk in or schedule an appointment Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. State, age, and health restrictions may apply. Ask your Rite Aid pharmacist for more details. Thank you, Rite Aid.
All right, buddy. Let's talk about TrueMark Financial Credit Union. So I was up in Bensalem the other day with TrueMark Financial Credit Union. I was opening up an account, and it was so easy. And I learned all about the benefits. I mean, tremendous. The people were so helpful, and especially with the kids, right? So I'm always worried about my boys, and they have incredible financial literary stuff going on, financial literacy stuff going on, great awareness, helping to put away something to help save for college and for high school as well. So all kinds of stuff. When you join a credit union like TrueMark Financial, you become part owner, which means profits come back to you instead of going to shareholders. You get better rates, lower fees, a better return on savings, more flexible options, all the same digital tools and the same tech to make our lives easier. All right. I was on the website and they had everything. I mean, it's really good. And becoming a member of the credit union, so many benefits. All right. TrueMark has local roots. Their headquarters in Fort Washington, 24 branches across the Philadelphia area. They serve our community and our people right here at home. It's why I love them. All right. It's the best. All right. Do yourself a favor. Head over to TrueMark.com/PHLY to learn more. You can find a branch near you. That's TrueMark.com/PHLY, federally insured by the NCUA. All right. As this man right here is a legend. Years ago when Love Park became a thing, that man, Jimmy Gorecki, Norristown's own, started. Jimmy!
Thank you.
Jimmy, what do you say, buddy?
I'm excited to be here. I'm excited that you can bless my household every morning. Your voice, your visual presence, your aura, the team here. I'm just psyched to be here.
Oh my God, dude! I mean, you can. First of all, we've talked many times.
Yep.
You've been on the show. You've been on the whole thing. That is an amazing piece. That it looks great on you.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I got it right prior to the launch of the uniforms at the Eagles team shop. I had to leave with it.
Well, what was it like? So let's start recent, okay? All right, and then I want to get into your history.
Yeah.
What was it like, all right, you doing a collab with the Eagles? Like your favorite team, your boyhood team, Jimmy G.
It's still something I can't quite wrap my head around, and it's a trip that it happened. The whole process of it, I dedicated the last 2 years of my life to it. If we put it together the first time, and the gentleman that was working, helping me put it together on behalf of the Eagles, ended up leaving the organization. So the project just kind of went down the tube. Right after the Super Bowl, Jesse Amoroso, who I did Amoroso's project with, Jesse said, "Jimmy, what happened to your project with the Eagles?" And I told him about it, and he goes, "I'm good friends with Julie and Lori.
Yeah.
I'm going to put you on an email with Julie." And I'm like, okay, yeah.
Oh, nice.
And sure enough, Julian emails me a week after the Super Bowl, said, "Jimmy, let us get back from Arizona, so let us get settled back in the office, and we'll get this thing going." Sure enough, he contacts me, says, "When can you be in Philly?" I said, "Next week."
Yeah.
Booked the flights. My partner and I jumped on a plane, and they're like, "Okay, we're gonna sit down in they have a little meeting room right next to the cafeteria."
Yep.
I say, "Hey guys, can I get a second?" I went to the bathroom, splash
Cold
You're
water.
a golden care,
Man,
baby.
and I was tripping, and I walked back into that room, and I blacked out. Like it was like that was like my Kobe moment. I was like, I'm not letting anybody in this room speak
Right.
until I need to say what I need to say, and I wasn't leaving them. I left. No wasn't going to be an option.
Right.
in this
Look
thing,
at that.
And sure enough, they said, "Let's do it." And it was actually to the point where it was sick. So my wife was like, "All right, you have till October 22nd when this project's coming out, and then we need you back." And I just blacked out the whole time. The approval process with the league,
Right.
the design process with the team.
And tell everybody about it. Like,
Yeah,
what-
yeah.
Would you have a total creative freedom with it?
I had to work. So what the NFL has these small licensing packages for small brands such as ours. Everything is to big, to Nikes and
Yeah.
whomever, them huge manufacturers, but they carve out these little spaces that companies such as our own can afford it, and B, have the same opportunity that the swoosh or whoever gets. And it was fun because the team gave me they gave me like the design creativity and freedom to do what I wanted to do, but then also understanding they're the big partner in this
Right.
equation. So obviously wanting to make something that they felt good about, that they internally could be excited about, but also know I was bringing our audience and crowd to it. And I think they were fascinated to see just how much crossover there is between the streetwear fan, the skate fan, the artists. All of these worlds are so interjected, and obviously for a city like Philly, it's like it's far more intertwined than what they realize.
Dude, I was about to say this because it makes so much sense, right? Like, I think people always thought that there was a gigantic chasm,
No, it's
right?
man.
Between the skater, the street artist, streetwear, and sports. Like, that sports was somehow more mainstream, right?
Yeah.
But in Philadelphia, it's completely different,
We're
right?
all-
Dude, when this came out, I got the Nocturnal store. I live near the Nocturnal
Yeah.
skate shop. Back in the day, British Robbie. I don't know.
Yeah. Matt's one of my closest friends.
Yeah. So
Robbie's
British
the man.
Robbie sends me a text. He's like, Gorecki stuff is at the store, man. He sent me money. He's like, you got to go down and get me some
No
sweatpants
way.
and stuff. Yeah.
Man, Robbie's that was my old head.
Yeah.
But all of it, man. We all live and breathe the same stuff. We're all inspired by the same things here.
Exactly.
When the teams are doing good, everyone's psyched. When the teams are doing bad, everyone feels it. So, this was the coolest thing. Back when this was the 2001 finals, Sixers and Lakers. I remember skating Love Park. Tip-off was at 5 o'clock. 4:30 on a Saturday. It was a ghost town because everyone scattered to go
Watch
see
the
game
game.
one.
Yeah.
And it was like that was, to me, I think about like a moment that characterizes how much the sports community means to skateboarding. Like that was it.
Yeah.
We were all so engulfed in that playoff run. But it's all one and the same.
How did you go from, kid from Norristown, skater, right,
Yep.
to this designer living in LA, right, meeting the biggest people? How did you cross that threshold?
When I try to put the picture together as like this one cohesive thing, I still don't know. I don't even know how I'm sitting here talking to you, other than, I listened to you on the radio. What did I do? I called in. My whole life, I've just been calling in. Like if I see an opportunity, if I see something that means something to me, I'll call it in. So
That's a great analogy,
as a
man.
kid, I recognized Love Park was 19 miles from Norristown. My mom had been bringing me school shopping down here since I was 7, 8 years old. So I was like, oh, shoot, I'm going to go. I'm 12 years old. I'll jump on the R6, and I would just sit and skate Love Park until the older guys either stopped ignoring me or started to bring me under the. Yeah, they didn't have an option, and with everything, I just kept at it.
Did you go out to LA for Skate purposes, fashion purposes.
for skating. So what was special, early 2000s, this whole skateboard industry was centered around Love Park. All the companies, all the media.
How nuts is that? Like Philadelphia, right, was the center of that world.
Yeah,
it was the apex of it.
Stevie Williams, West Philly's own, one of the biggest skateboarders ever. And I think Stevie and another gentleman named Josh Kalis, they blew the scene up. And it was the height of DC Shoes. There was a handful of massive companies that were all centered around Philadelphia. So it was easy for me to recognize, like, okay, if the magazines and videos, all they want is photos and clips of kids from Philly, I'm going to get with the videographers, I'm going to get with the photographers, and I'm just going to go out with them all day, every day. And sure enough, ended up in magazines, and then ended up companies from California like, all right, we recognize who this Jimmy kid is. We want to bring him in. And, you know, from what was one thing after another from there. So
Wow, that is wild. I mean, that's amazing. Like, and you think about how you loved it, right? Like that board, when you talk about it, the love of it, like as much as you love the Eagles in football, that's what you found your true love. What was I remember, because we're around the same age when it first kind of takes off. What made you what drew you to that culture?
there was just always something about it. I love team sports, but I also love things where you're not hindered by a teammate.
Right.
It's
individual.
solely up to you. And the awesome thing with skateboarding, it's all about perspective. The way your approach could be different from mine and us two sitting here, but the three of us could go skate all day together, skate completely different, but at the end of the day, we all enjoy what one another brings to it. And I always love that aspect about skating. I think skateboarding, the way it influences the way that kids just look on society, is an awesome way to be. It's very, it brings together kids from all walks of lives, all different economic backgrounds, cultural backgrounds, and that was, to me, it was a beautiful thing. And honestly, I've raised my kid with that same viewpoint that I learned from skating.
Well, it's expression, right? Like,
exactly. Yeah.
I mean, we talk about art form, and art is movement is art, right? Yeah. So you want to talk about expression. It doesn't get more creative than that.
And it's all subjective, like what you think could be cool, someone else might not see the beauty in it, but then someone else, it's a really, really cool thing.
Well, it's the intersection of, art and the street fashion and, graffiti art, like all that stuff.
Combined with like crazy athleticism too.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, and that's the thing, like the individual portion of it, which drew you, right? Like, because you're right, like if you have your own individual expression that you I got to get out, that's the perfect arena for it. And you have to have that thrill, right? That danger, thrill seeker.
Yeah. I was scared to death as a kid.
Like like when you're skating over railings, And tell us about some of the more hazardous attempts.
I mean, I'm fortunate. I've only had one minor injury in my career, but I definitely have hung up on rails or slipped and whopped my head, and we kind of learned how to fall out of these things, and it's a certain agility. It was almost like cat-like skill.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah,
you're like a cat. That's exactly right. I'm thinking the same thing.
You can drop a cat and it somehow lands back on its feet.
That's you, man. You're a cat man.
Yeah,
He's a cat guy. He's a cat guy.
Yeah.
You are.
At 42 now, I feel it. I gotta spend a little bit more time stretching and a little bit more time in the gym. But fortunately, it's and maybe that was thanks to other sports I played growing up. I had my legs were a little bit firmer underneath me and stuff. But yeah, I feel it now for sure.
Hey, can I ask, for us who don't skate, what made Love Park so special?
So Kevin Bacon, which one's the actor?
Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
Kevin Bacon's father is a brilliant architect.
Yes.
City planning, and the way it was that place was built specifically for skateboarding, from the granite that was picked for people to ride on, to grind on, the layouts of it, the levels, the ledges everywhere. It's still to this day when I think back on it, it was by far the best kind of plaza style skateboarding spot within a city, you know.
Sure. And then, like, listen, Philadelphia, period, right? The architecture of Philadelphia and Center City and City Hall, which is, you know, so distinct and really so beautiful. It fits perfect, like, as a backdrop to have Center City and City Hall is awesome.
So for years, you just went back and forth. And some would argue City Hall, the initial design there, was better than Love Park. You know, you could just go back and forth. If the cops kicked you out of here, you go to City Hall. They kick you out of City Hall, you go back to Love Park.
Was it a constant cat and mouse with the cops?
It was, yeah. And, you know, at times it was ridiculous. You know, there'd be motorcycle police. They drive the Broncos up, and there's undercovers. At moments it was like, yo, we made people feel safe walking through here.
Right, yeah.
There's no, you know, there's a lot of the ills that we see nowadays. None of that existed in there. If it did, it was self-governed. It's still, you know, it's still a heartbreaking thing that, you know, it wasn't celebrated and they didn't rally around it because it was bringing kids from all over the world to move here. The amount of money these skate companies and media were investing in Philly was like, you would be crazy.
It's interesting, right?
To reject that.
Like, time has a way of kind of unveiling truth.
Yes.
Right?
1,000%.
And so counterculture, because something's counterculture, there's automatically a bias, right, against it. And something like that, like, we now see it and go, oh my, like, what, like, and look what it provided. Look what it helped create.
Yep.
I mean, it created this whole world, which is freaking awesome. And it was born right here.
Born here, yeah. The other beauty of it, too, is like, even aside from, all right, the skateboarding is the principle that's bringing all these kids here, but within the skateboarding, these kids are also talented in so many other things. So many amazing artists, musicians, teachers. There would be doctors that would come down, surgeons from Thomas Jefferson on their lunch break would come skate there. So it wasn't just skating that was cultivating there.
Yes.
It was a lot of different arts.
Well, I'm so jealous that I'm not in the community at FDR.
Oh,
the community down there, I walk my dogs, and it just seems like it's like a throwback to a wonderful time where people of all different colors and ages. And
they built all that themselves.
Yeah.
The city, they kicked us out of Love Park. They set up a bunch of little cement ramps that were like super makeshift, and then over the course of, I mean, that went up mid-90s.
Yeah.
So now we're talking almost 30 years later, and that place is like a work of art.
And they have festivals, and there's bands playing all the time. It's a great scene.
Lakes.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, it really is. Hey, what do you got for us, buddy?
So I know you had asked me to bring some stuff. I just jumped on a red eye Saturday night, threw some stuff in my carry-on, and you know, you were asking me about the brand, and I think about all these collaborations and whatnot.
You've done a collab with Temple University recently.
Yeah, we've done. You said it right. This city has. I didn't, and it dawned on me. I was like, wow, the city really is my muse.
Yeah.
You know, as of the last 5 or 6 years. And I think in the back of my mind, I said, if I ever had a chance to get some footing going in fashion, everything I'm doing, I'm going to pour it back into Philly. So, but in regards to this, I had like an hour to pack. So honestly, the foundation of everything we do is this amazing T-shirt. And I know it's like such a basic thing. This was when my partner started Standard Issue. This was the first thing he had shown me, and the packaging blew me away. Honestly, it made me like everything I was working on at the time. I was like, yo, I want to come be part of this with you. You know, just from traveling and being like, Philly is obviously this is the T-shirt capital. You know, like everyone goes to the corner store and gets their T-shirt and everything. Later on, brands like American Apparel and stuff. So everything that I knew about T-shirts and knowing my partner's expertise in garment manufacturing, I was like, oh, this is it. This thing is going to save my life in terms of having a shirt that I know I can wash and wear, throw in the dresser, bring it out, and it's always going to fit the same. I guarantee all of us, if we were to wash our T-shirts right now.
Oh my God, dude! I just had this conversation with my wife. My sweats, T-shirts.
It's
like,
going to shrink. It's
Yeah,
not going to
yeah,
feel like it
exactly.
felt the first time. But with us, all right, single packs and triple packs. The singles come in this packaging. So if you're traveling and you got stuff like your chones and your socks you want to throw back in your bag, not to soil the other stuff in your carry-on, you have the beautiful packaging for that. And then you rip it open.
Look at that. Nice.
And it's just an amazing fitting T-shirt.
Yeah.
It's not too wide. It's not too skinny.
Right, not too baggy.
And you don't have to worry about cold wash, hang dry. You can throw it in there. None of us have time for that. We got kids, we got families. We got, the house looks insane.
Yeah, yes.
A project.
You got an earful of that.
2 hours past due on something that needed, you were supposed to email.
Totally.
We got to go. We don't, at this point, we don't have time for all that. So throw it in the wash with everything else, bring it out, run it through the dryer, put it back in your dresser, and when you're ready to go to wear it again, it's going to fit just like
Dude, I love
last
it, man.
time.
That's
So
fabulous.
We get a little criticism over the price, but I look at it like this. You can buy one Gildan shirt, or you can buy 2 Gildan shirts. Okay, let's say they're $14, $15 a piece. You're going to wear them once. You're never going to want to wear them again after you get out the dryer. These are going to last you a couple years. At the seams or anything are never going to ruffle and whatnot. It's never going to pill up. So you're gonna get every cent out of each.
I love
layer,
it.
So
I won't even buy a Gildan shirt at this point.
No.
Man.
First of all, they don't even feel the same. Like
They don't, no.
We now know what it's like to feel the great, that softness of that T-shirt that gives you the fit.
I showed you that article though, the Esquire one. They said this is the shirt.
Esquire magazine.
They said this is the shirt that would make Brando proud.
Yeah.
And it was like, you couldn't have.
Dude,
you couldn't have written a nicer compliment.
Right? Oh my God!
So.
The shirt that makes Marlon Brando proud. Jimmy Gorecki, Norristown, Philadelphia. You got to be kidding me! Doing great stuff. What's the website? How do people hang with you?
StandardIssueTees.com. I'm on all the socials that everyone else is on. So direct message. I mean, 90% of the people that we meet. That's the beauty of social media now. It's like everyone is a direct message away. I mean, even someone at, when I walked in, someone like Bryce Harper, man. I just messaged him, and the guy hit me right back. And that was where our dialogue started at. So, just everything is just Jimmy Gorecki. So. Hit me on there.
Made in USA?
And made in L.A. Yep.
Nice.
Vernon, California, 10 minutes from downtown L.A.
Your kids Rams fans or Eagles fans?
No, my daughter she was born in L.A., but she, obviously everything here, a lot of her friends are Dodgers fans and Lakers fans. So she goes between the two, but last year really won her over, no, 2 years ago, I'm sorry. The World Series Super Bowl year was she was like, okay,
nice.
You're right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so.
Well, I know. Listen, I know how you parent.
Yeah.
All right. We're cuffing the same cloth.
Yeah.
And you also have a podcast coming out with another skater, Joey Marone.
Yes. Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. Me and Joey are working. Joey is there's all of these amazing kids in Philly that skate, but Joey Marone is one of the most unique, special ones. So I'm excited this project we're working on.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be fun. Part of our youth. It's going to be part of our youth sports Yo Kid Extreme. Jimmy's going to head up the Yo Kid
trying
Extreme.
to teach kids and educate them on how to get their careers started, whether it's skate, whether it's art, whether it's sports. It's like we didn't have these tools coming up. We didn't. We were lucky if we had a couple old heads take us under their wing. We really had to learn things on the fly, and it's like now these kids, there's more tools and stuff. So anything we could teach them in terms of not burning bridges, and making the
of course,
most of it.
man.
And no one told me that.
All those great life lessons, dude.
So.
No, you're right. That means success.
Yeah.
But listen, God bless you, brother.
Thank you so much.
So proud of you,
I
man.
appreciate it. This is awesome, man.
Jimmy G, baby.
Love
Jimmy!
it.
I'm so glad that you're friends with Robbie, man. Yeah, Robbie's the best.
Yeah, that's good stuff. All right, it's time now for the daily grind and the brain.
Brain. Red, the brain finder.
Hello, brain. What do you say,
Good morning,
buddy?
Trying to get this thing lined up right. I'm good.
You're making me
How are you?
seasick.
Yeah, I see that.
Right there, you're
how's
good.
that?
You're good. Don't
All right,
mess
good.
with it.
All right, bro.
Give me
Not gonna
some
mess with it.
volume, Andrew.
Can you hear me okay?
I got you.
All right, good, buddy.
What do you say, buddy? Like, what's going on, man? You look frazzled this morning. You all right?
No. I'm not.
You
frazzled.
tired?
No. I got to tell you, I was in a very, very good mood because Anthony, Sunday to me was a national holiday, and the Knicks lost. I was happy. That team finally got put to bed, and that made me like a happy man. That made me a happy man.
You know what? I hate to admit it, but I actually admired them. I mean, I don't like the Knicks or whatever, but at this point, I admired them. I admired the way they played. I admired through all the injuries. Yeah. I mean, listen, all the Madison Square Garden stuff I could do without. But I don't know. I still hate Boston way more.
I can't I get it. I don't know. Maybe because they're just sour they beat the Sixers, but I thought they got, again, I know they had a lot of injuries, but I thought they got a lot of breaks in the first couple rounds to win some of those games. But look, they certainly had too many injuries to overcome. But I was happy personally they lost. I will tell you this, Anthony, good lesson for any sports bettor, in my opinion, any sports fan, but especially sports bettors. That Denver series, Anthony, when it was 3-2 Denver, look, I know me and you both picked Minnesota to win the series. When it was 3-2 Denver, though, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm like, okay, Denver, defending champs, seemingly figured out this Minnesota team who I had a ton of respect for. And look, I thought it was over, and I really did. And then again, God,
dude, I mean, how could you not, right? Like when you think about it, how could you not think it was over? When they come storming back, it was impressive. I thought they were on the mat. I thought Minnesota, they win the first 2 games in Denver, and I thought they had the recipe, which makes Game 7 all the more impressive.
Yeah, it was an incredible performance. It's interesting, Anthony. Do you know that guy, Harabob Bulgaris? Do you know who that is or no?
Say again?
The name Harabob Bulgaris.
No.
Have you ever heard that name before? Okay, he was a huge analytics guy and actually became, I want to say 12 years ago or so, he found an inefficiency in halftime and first half, second half totals disparities, and he made literally millions upon millions upon millions of dollars gambling. Mark Cuban actually hired him as his head of analytics, and he worked for the Mavericks for a few years. But anyway, he posted a thing. He doesn't work for him anymore, but he posted a thing on showing the true value of each player in Minnesota in these playoffs by possession. He broke it down on the court versus off the court. Do you know who had the highest difference of their team by a wide margin? Not Anthony Edwards. I want to see if you know who, according to his analytics, was the most important player by a zillion.
McDaniels?
No, this surprised me. Rudy Gobert.
Okay, yeah, I make that. I mean, actually, was going to mention Gobert, but I thought that was a little bit obvious. Listen. They were built, and that's why they did the whole thing about being built to beat the Nuggets was because of Gobert. The brilliance of bringing Gobert and sliding Cat, because now Cat could play his true position, which is really a stretch 4.
Yeah, listen, again, I was very impressed with Minnesota. I have a lot of respect, Anthony, for Dallas as well. I do. They hurt my feelings by not covering that game against against OKC in game 6. But I think, look, I'll be honest, Anthony, again, we'll talk about these series, but I think Minnesota's going to win the title. I think unless Porzingis comes back and looks great, I don't love what I see out of this Boston team. I know we talked about it.
Dude, I'm with you, man. I like the Wolves, man. I'm rooting Wolves.
Yeah.
I think Dallas is going to be a tough test because Dallas plays really good defense. That's going to be a great series, actually.
I agree with you. I think, by the way, I got to tell you, and it's been bet down quite a bit. I bet it too. I bet the opening at 8-1 odds on Indiana to win the series. I don't think they're going to win it. Let me make this clear. I don't think they're going to win it, but it's now down to 5.5 to 1. I don't think that Boston's just going to smoke this team 4-1. I really don't. I think it goes at least 6. You could actually bet over 5.5 games getting odds.
Listen, I agree. I think it goes 6 too, because the way that, first of all, Boston's not a good defensive team, so Indiana can stress them a little bit, and they have those moments. like, make no mistake, the Celtics are going to win the series, but they fall asleep. And there'll be a game where Indiana puts up 125 points.
I agree. And look, I think they'll probably be 2 games. Again, I think that they're going to be good enough to win probably 2 games. And again, there's something about this. Look, I'll just say this. If they play the way, Anthony, they did against Cleveland, okay, if they play that way, I'm going to be honest. I think Indiana, you're going to call me nuts. I think Indiana would have beaten them. I'll go that far. Yeah. But again, maybe they're just doing what they have to do against the competition just to get by. But I'm just not impressed with Boston. I lean again. Indiana getting 10 in game more right now on the Park site. I think that's a little bit too high, Anthony. I do. I thought the line should have been closer to 8. You want my honest answer? I think getting 10 gives you an extra 2 points of value, at least according to my numbers.
I like it. The Daily Grind with the Brain, Brad Feinberg, presented by the Park Sportsbook and Casino app. I feel you. The other thing about this series that's going to be gross is that it's going to be a lot of Larry Bird. Of course, Larry Bird living in Indiana, right? From Indiana, right? The Celtics. There is the new Mayhem commercial with Larry Bird where he's the bird in the attic, which is actually funny.
It was funny.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. I think, look, growing up as a kid, like Larry Bird, like I can't even tell you my dislike and rooting against that man. But the older I've gotten, it's that dislike has turned to begrudging respect for what he accomplished and just the way
Jokic's Bird, only bigger.
Yeah,
very similar movement.
Same IQ.
It's the same court vision.
Yeah, it's actually a very good comp. I agree. Just a bigger, burlier version. Not the shooter, but in terms of just everything else, like plays the game.
He's got decent touch too, right? Not like Bird, but
no, you're right. I'm saying, but I agree. Like Jokic is, honestly, almost such a unique, amazing player. But you're right. He is, has some similarities to Larry Bird, no doubt about it.
Yeah. How you looking? Give us some of your stuff. By the way, if people want to get a hold of the Brain, all right, at Brad's Best Bets on Twitter X and bradsbestbets.com. Nobody's better than him. All right. You are the man.
Appreciate it.
Documented. All right. We know that. So what do you got for us?
Well, Anthony, a couple games. I'm going to start with the baseball game. Joe Ryan, I think a very solid pitcher going against a guy who I love to go against, Patrick Corbin. Now, the Nationals have been decent this year, Anthony, but you could look, in the 5-inning line, this is how I'm choosing to attack this game. They're almost a 2-1 favorite. Minnesota, I'm not looking to lay close to 200 in the game, but what I did do on the Park site right now, you play $1.29, I think it is, laying a half run on the 5-inning line. Corbin's the guy that really should give up, in my opinion, at least 3 runs in the first 5 innings. And Ryan is a guy I think should hold them to 0, 1, or 2. I feel like I will score runs with a good Minnesota lineup against a very bad Patrick Corbin. It's a way for me to bet this game. If the game is tied after 5, I'm obviously going to, not be the happiest of people because, but to me, it's a way of getting out of there, laying a lot less than the 2-1 price. And I think after 5 innings, they'll be able to touch Corbin up and we can get out of Dodge after 5 innings.
I like that a lot. Corbin's a gas can. So, I could see Buxton waking up. He's been having a down year. Correa went yard, so you get the right-handers. They'll have their right-handed lineup in the Twins. So I like that.
And Corbin to me is like equals everything out, and then he very rarely pitches well. Like he signed that big contract. I remember the Phillies went on that, Anthony, if you remember.
Yeah, after Arizona.
That 6-year contract. I think it has to be year 6. I'm guessing by now. And I'll give the guy credit. He's pitched hasn't gotten hurt, but he just every year he's just been bad.
Yeah.
Except for the year they won the World Series. They gave him 1 good year, 5 garbage years, not the best. God, imagine, Anthony, them and Strasburg. They gave those 2 guys a combined 13 years, okay? And I think they got 1 year out of 13 years that was above average. As soon as they signed Strasburg to the 7-year, 210, he fell apart. Anytime you give these pitchers this money, you never know what's going to happen. And I'll give you a couple NBA, Anthony. Tyrese Halliburton, they made us over under 4.5 rebounds. He's averaging for the year 3.9. He went on under this 42 out of 68 times. In the playoffs, he's gone under more times than not. Just think it's a touch too high. And again, even though I sang the praises of Indiana, and I think that they can keep this series close, Boston still is a 10-point favorite. It could be potentially a blowout. I think 4.5. Again, there's no ties in these sports books, as we know, Anthony. So I would make it closer to 4. I think there's a better chance he gets 1 to 4 as opposed to getting 5. And I'll give you another Andrew Nembhard, Anthony. They made his over/under assist 4.5. He went his last down the stretch, 17-8 to this under. He averages only 4 assists a game. Again, what's the difference between 4 and 5? That 1 assist is everything. He's under.
Be careful with him, though. I know you're playing the math, and you are. Nobody does math like you, but he's become a lot. He's a good secondary ball handler who can actually can facilitate.
He can't listen. He's played better in these playoffs, and he's gotten actually a little bit more run. But again, I just would have made this closer to 4. I think it again at 4.5. He has to get 5 to beat me. Even in the playoffs, Anthony, as good as he's been going under. So to me, I just think there's a better chance he gets 4 than 5. And again, when he lands on 4, that's when I smile, knowing that was my edge.
Of course, Brad. For those people who don't know, Brad goes against human achievement. He's an under guy, which is why he wins consistently.
Yeah, well, you got to do. And we got to have a NFL season win show. You got to tell me what day you want me to do that.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that. Or I'm going to have you come in studio and do the W's and L's. All right.
I would love it, man. I would love that, my friend.
We'll have fun. My brother, the Big Brain. Enjoy the hoop tonight.
I'll see you tomorrow.
See you, pal. Brad Feinberg, the Big Brain, brought to us by the Bet Park Sportsbook and Casino app. Look, all the stuff that Brad talks about, you have right there on your phone. All right? All your same game parlays, all of your props, right there on the Bet Park Sportsbook and Casino app. It's fantastic. Listen, the Parks Casino in Salem has it all. All right? So you want world-class entertainment. You want world-class dining. You want the action, all the slots, all the tables, the incredible poker room. They have the sports book. I mean, they have it all there. And if you can't get there, this is where you have the Bet Park Sportsbook Casino app. You got live dealers, so if you want to play some blackjack at home and relax, right there on your phone. You got to be in PA, New Jersey. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Got to be 21. Again, PA, New Jersey, Ohio, Maryland. It's the Bet Park Sportsbook and Casino app. And we're brought to you by Butcher Box. Oh, the Meatlocker's coming up with Baldy. And we love the Butcher Box. So what Butcher Box is, I mean, I'm talking about the highest quality of meat and seafood. Proteins delivered in a box right to your doorstep. It's incredible. I mean, 100% grass-fed beef, free-range organic chicken, pork-raised crate-free, wild-caught seafood. You mainly raise no antibiotics and no added hormones. And that's all important for me as, you know, with my 2 kids, everything's about the kids. So, you know, at some point, if you have children, you're going to know this, that it's all about them. They need to, you know, you want to feed them only the best, give them only the best. And this is where Butcher Box is great. It's grilling season. All right. You know, Memorial Day weekend's coming up. Get your Butcher Box in time for Memorial Day barbecue, man. You want to cook out? They got it all. I mean, you want to do shrimp, you want to do steaks, you want to do burgers, any of it. Ribs, all on Butcher Box. And right now, how about this deal? Butcher Box gives our new users free meat and $20 off your first box. Free meat. That's it. And $20 off your first box. Join today by using butcherbox.com/PHLY. Use that code PHLY to get the deal. Butcherbox.com. All right. Now joining us, this is a fun day today. Look, Phillies, Rangers. Texas comes to town, the defending world champions, World Series champions, Texas Rangers. And yet nobody really cares. Nobody really knows because there's only one team in Dallas that matters. And it has us thinking today. We were joking around yesterday in our post-show meeting when the Rangers come in. We're like, you know what? Dallas sucks. So even though we don't really hate the Mavericks, all right, I might be jealous, and I love Luka, all right? Even though I don't really hate the Stars, I may be jealous. I don't hate the Rangers, even though they won it last year. But boy, do we hate Dallas. And joining us, He knows all about it. Let's explore what the Cowboys mean to the NFL. Baldy.
Baldy, Baldy. Oh, let's talk some football. Ay, Baldy, Baldy. Oh, he likes meats and football.
Oh, Baldy. There he is.
Morning,
Baldy.
cuz. Morning.
What's up, Bionic Man?
Let's see, what is up? Temperature's high. Getting ready to head to the Dolphins OTA today. Go see Tua throw it around the yard. Go check out OBJ, see how he looks in a Dolphin uniform. You know, just the basic stuff.
That's fantastic. You can't stray too far from football, man.
No.
You're in Lauderdale. Thinking Baldy go Beats today. OTAs. Football's always first, then vacation.
You got to take care of your business first, cuz. It'll be 94 today. It feels like training camp. Bring your sponge underwear, wring it out a few times. But get your football fix. You know,
I love it.
I'm anxious to see it.
All right, before I do want to ask you about the Dolphins, but before we get into that, the phenomenon that is the Cowboys, and it's interesting because it's May, football turns quiet now for a while. We have OTAs, and then of course things will get amped up again in July during training camp. So the Texas Rangers are coming to town, right, to play the red-hot Phillies. And the first thing we think of, not that the Rangers won the World Series last year, it's we think of the Cowboys and the fact that the Cowboys got all those primetime games. What is it about them, Baldy? You played there.
Well, I mean, when I was there, they were America's team. They still are. They drive all the ratings. It's the star. It's the arrogance. It's a lot of success. And then, you either love them or you hate them. It's the ultimate Shakespearean story. You've got villains and heroes. And so they can be either one, because they first want to put cheerleaders on the sideline. They've got the biggest screen in the history of stadiums. Everything's bigger in Texas. Like all this stuff, this folklore. Meanwhile, you talk to Troy Ayton, you talk to guys from that era, they're like, it's been 28 years. It's this one of the longest droughts without going to a championship game of all 32 teams. But yet they still get all of the attention and they still drive all of the ratings.
They do. And I find myself, I have to admit, I like when they're good. Not too good, but I like when they're good. I wore this today just for you because I knew we were going to have this conversation and just joking around. But in all kidding aside, I want them to be good and never win. I think it's...
Well, look, because they're the only team in the NFL over the last 3 years that have won 12 games in each year.
Yeah.
They're the winningest, over the last 3 years, they're the winningest franchise in the regular season in the NFL. Yeah. And then they have these gut-wrenching losses where, what Green Bay did to them, they just, emasculated them, in front of their home fans.
And that was amazing. At home, divisional round, right? You had the bye week, and then you get smacked.
You get smacked, and then you see a kid in Jordan Love making basically, his debut in the playoffs, and he shows up your $40 million quarterback and outplays him in every way that you can outplay him. And so the year before, it was the 49ers and Brock Purdy. They've had just gut-wrenching home losses. And so, look, I like and I respect Jerry Jones. Jerry is now 82 years old. He turns 82 in August. I remember I went to his 60th birthday party back in 2002. So he's 82. Wow. I don't know how much longer Jerry has to be in control and to try and get back to the winning, the championship level ways. Because there's some organizations in this whole business, Pittsburgh, Dallas, some teams, San Francisco, they're just measured by Lombardi trophies. And the Cowboys are so far away from that, but part of the success and part of the ratings is people don't even want to see him good. They just want to see him kicked. They just want to see him just rolled down highway, I-20 like a tumbleweed. So that there's a lot of that emotion that goes with it.
Yeah, it was funny, and there was those different eras of the Cowboys, right? So when I'm a little boy, that I remember, like my first memories of them was Thanksgiving, and then playing the Steelers in the Super Bowl in whatever it was, '78, and I'm thinking about this, and there was that like pristine. They were everything that was good about the NFL, right? And the Eagles were just getting good. They were about to play in the Super Bowl. But I remember at that point, like in the Raiders, more. Like either the Cowboys were like the good guys and the Raiders were like the villains. And I remember liking the Raiders more because I'm like, they're at least cool. These Cowboys they're our division. We hated them. And it was funny. Now the Cowboys are hero and villain.
Yeah, they're both. No, it's a melodrama. You find yourself cheering and hating and cheering to hate and cheering to like, come on, Dak, let's get, one more touchdown to CD here. Like it's never going to, I don't think it's going to change. Football is king in Texas. It's the most important thing there. Anybody that ever lives there, raise your kids there. Football is everything. Now, the Rangers are coming to town, the Mavericks and Luka and Kyrie and the Stars. I mean, it's an awesome run, in the Metro, we call the Metroplex back in Texas there. It's an awesome run for the Metroplex right now. And they support the other sports. Like I've been to tons of Maverick games over the years. And they were pretty good. Dick Motta was a coach, and they were pretty good back then.
Wow,
but, Luka.
Rolando Blackman.
Yes. And, Butch Davis, some of these, Brad Davis and Rolando Blackman were the backcourt. I could go back in time. But Detlef Schrempf was, one of their, first round picks. Bill Wennington, on and on and on. But none of that really matters. It's still about the Cowboys at this point.
So, all right, I got so many things. I don't want to gloss over this. You said you were at Jerry Jones's 60th birthday party.
Yeah.
What in the world was that like?
So the reason why I was there was in 2002, my partner was Pat Summerall. So Pat came out of retirement. Madden went to Monday Night Football. Pat was initially retired. He came out, didn't want to retire. So they want to put him with a good good production crew. So they put him with me and this Bob Stanner, Sandy Grossman, like the best production team of all time. So we did a lot of Cowboy games that year because he lived right in South Fork. Like he lived right there, and he was good friends with Jerry Jones. And so Jerry's 60th birthday comes, and he's living in this part of Dallas, and Jerry threw himself a party. So he's got his jet. He's out there picking up the Pointer Sisters. Here come the Pointer Sisters. Al Michaels and his crew. They come in from L.A., and this is a Friday night now. The game's on Sunday. Like, it is a star-studded affair, all right? They've got girls coming out of the pool with smoke. Like I'm talking like, right off of dance chorus line in Las Vegas. Like girls. And it's over the top. Just over the top on every single level. So I just sat back and, made some new friends and enjoyed the spectacle and wished Jerry a happy 60th.
Was that his mansion?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was that thing? That thing had to be some expansive.
Jerry's not what you would call he's living large. Let's just say that. Jerry's living large.
Listen, when they did the pandemic draft and he was on the yacht, I mean, not for nothing, but that was the height of I was actually cool. Like, you go, I'm going to be on my yacht. Like, that was kind of cool.
Well, he's a businessman. Jerry's a businessman. Even to this day, all these stadiums that get built, whether it's SoFi Stadium or Legion Stadium or any stadium getting built, like Jerry's got a company called the Legacy Company. He builds all the luxury suites. And not only does he build the luxury suites in all these stadiums, he gets a piece of all the action from all these stadiums.
Wow.
Yeah, there's Bank of America right in, the start Frisco. Like one side of the building is Jerry and his business, real estate, oil, insurance. The other side of the building is all football, and it's literally, it feels like it's the next best thing to the Football Hall of Fame in Canton, because they literally honor every player that's ever played for the Cowboys.
What was all right? What was it like? Go back in time, because that was your first team, right? You were an undrafted free agent. You make against all odds, you make the Cowboys, and this is the height of their existence, right? Like it's right. Tom Landry, the hat, the whole thing. What was that experience? I mean, what was it like there? I mean, that can only imagine.
First of all, like, none of it felt like it was anything special from just a standpoint of facilities. Like, we had one practice field. It was on Forest Lane. Our weight room was outside. They had 2 racquetball courts. They had one jacuzzi, one person at a time. They had 6 shower heads in the shower. They had, an ashtray in every locker. It was just a small little facility. We didn't have a room big enough to put our whole team in for Landry to talk to the team. Like, it was just a little, like, you would never think this is the Dallas Cowboys. Now, it changed when we went to Valley Ranch, and now it definitely changed when we went to Frisco. So that's that. But they had just come off NFC championship losses to Philadelphia, Wilbert Montgomery, to the 49ers, Joe Montana, and, the catch. And so here we are, 1982, and they're like, we're right on the doorstep. We can't get over the hump in the championship game. So when I came in 82, Landry had this motive. We're gonna make this the toughest camp ever. That's what's missing. We don't have the right level of toughness. So when we came in that year in 82, like, literally, we scrimmaged every single day. We scrimmaged in the morning, we scrimmaged, and we conditioned. We came in the afternoon, training camp, we scrimmaged every afternoon, and then we conditioned. It never stopped. And the guys, the Randy Whites and Tony Dorsett's and Drew Pearson's, those guys, I mean, their tongues were like dragging, going, we never been anything like this. And that's all I knew, though. So that's how we came into the thing.
What's interesting is that I think about, like, the regal nature of it. And, I guess it's exploded more in time, like with Jerry Jones, when Tex Schramm retires. But, like, I guess you were in the middle of that, in between that, because it's pre-Jimmy Johnson, right? So when Jimmy Johnson comes in is when it takes the next kind of level, right?
Well, Clint Murkison was the original owner. He was an oil man, and he ran it like a business. And so Tex Schramm came in, and and he ran the business side, and Gil Brandt did the personnel, and Landry did football. And then Clint was getting older. He sold it to a guy, a car dealer at a College Station. He big donor to Texas A&M, Bum Bright, and he took over. He took it over. And he treated it like a business, and then he just saw this thing getting run into the ground, and he was just looking to get out. And that's when Jerry came in. Jerry came in and brought Jimmy with him in 1989. Aikman was his first pick, 1 of 15, and Jimmy will tell you that those were dark days, and they were that's when they ended up the next year trading Herschel Walker, and then Jimmy just took over the draft. Like, that was his baby. He was going to build this roster, and within 2 years, like, he built up the best roster in the entire NFL.
Who in your career, right? If you looked at the greatest football men, all right? Now, Jimmy Johnson, you just mentioned, right? Because I think Harbaugh is one of those guys. Like, I think Jim Harbaugh will go to the Chargers, and he will rebuild the Chargers in 2 years and they'll be a contender.
Yeah.
If I said to you that, like the list of 10, the greatest football minds. Now that would include building a roster, coaching it, like like a Belichick, but Belichick failed at times as the GM. So if you were one owner and if you were an owner and you went, I need one guy other than yourself to do this thing, who is it?
Well, Ozzie Newsome was as good as anybody's ever done it. A Hall of Fame player, Hall of Fame general manager. And you look at all the guys that Ozzie has trained. Like I'm going to go see my buddy Andy Weidel tonight with the Steelers. He's in town. He's got all these scouting meetings and whatnot. But Andy came up under Ozzie. Joe Douglas running the Jets came up under Ozzie. You you look at the new GM of the Chargers. He came up under Ozzie. He trained these guys. You look at all the guys that are in Baltimore still to this day. How Ozzie left the Ravens. It just so happened that his last year there is the year that he also went back into the first round and drafted Lamar Jackson. I'm going to leave the franchise in good hands. I don't know that anybody has been better. But, George Young with the New York Giants, Parcells, George Young is up there. No doubt about it. The teams that Parcells and they built with those Giant teams, whether it was Phil Simms and Lawrence Taylor and Pepper Johnson and that group, O.J. Anderson, that was Mark Bavaro. You look at their draft picks, how they drafted, what they drafted for Leonard Marshall. You just keep going through it. That was pretty strong. Look, I think Gil Brandt did a great job in Dallas. He had great success with free agents. Their thing of bringing in 100 plus free agents a year, letting them battle it out. It was the ultimate reality TV show. We'll battle it out. We'll cut them every day, but we'll find something that makes them stick. Drew Pearson, Billy Bates, myself, Mark Tuinei, Cornell Green, Rayfield Wright. Just on and on and on. Guys that were undrafted. And then look, the trade they made to get Randy White, the trade they made to get Tony Dorsett. Blockbuster type trades. You have to think Gil deserves a lot of success. Bill Polian. Bill Polian did it in Carolina. Bill Polian did it in Buffalo. He took an expansion team in Carolina and had them in an NFC championship game in a couple of years. He went to 4 straight Super Bowls in Buffalo. You got to consider Bill Polian one of the great architects of this business. So there's been quite a few.
Andy, would you put Andy up there?
No, Andy's kind of getting his Andy's been trained well. He had success in Philadelphia when they listened to him. He's had. I think we'll see what happens in Pittsburgh. You got to have success. I think their team is going to be good. It's a tough division.
No, Andy Reid.
Oh, of course, yes.
Yeah.
Andy, because I think Andy, just going back to his first year, because in 1999 and getting that quarterback of Donovan Wright, when there was so much uncertainty with 6 quarterbacks, whether it's Culpepper or Couch and all the guys that were in that class, he got the quarterback position right. How he built his teams, thick, strong in the trenches. Trey Thomas, John Runyon, all the stuff, and then his architects that have come through, all the guys that have helped, whether now it's currently Brett Veach, but all the guys that we know in Philadelphia that came through there. Yes, Andy he has a great eye for it, and he enjoys doing it while he lets his guys do their job at the same time.
It's so fascinating, right? I think about all the no one had an eye for quarterbacks like him in that, so he has McNabb. He somehow was able to win, remember, down the stretch with Coy, AJ Feely. He was able to flip AJ, right, for a significant trade. He's able to kind of rebuild Michael Vick. Alex Smith, he has success with. And then, of course, the ultimate's Mahomes.
Yeah. No, Andy's been, he's going to go down as one of the greatest coaches, one of the greatest. Whenever he does decide to step away, you're never going to be able to tell the history of the NFL without talking about Andy Reid. in so many different levels in Philadelphia and in Kansas City, whether it's quarterbacks, whether it's, like who knew who Jimmy Johnson was? Jim Johnson. Who knew who Jim Johnson was when he brought him to be his defensive coordinator?
Right.
Like
Right.
Steve Spagnuolo was on the street. He was coaching the Frankfurt Galaxy. Like, Sean McDermott. Like, he takes guys that nobody else is talking about. And you kind of wonder, you go, if some team wanted to just start over, let's just say nothing's working. I don't know, pick a franchise. I don't want to badmouth any franchise. Let's just say Arizona. I think they're on the right track, but just say Arizona.
Right.
Like, if I was the owner of a team, or if I was a new owner, like literally, I would move to Kansas City and shadow Andy for a year. And I would try to learn and glean whether it's how he conducts his coaches' meetings, how he decides on personnel decisions, what he's like at training camp, how he handles the off season, if they have great success, how he handles the success, like on and on and on. And then I would go, Andy, help me put my staff together. Tell me what to do. Like I wouldn't go through any of these other interview process anymore. Like I wouldn't listen to anybody else. I think I would sit down with Andy Reid. I'd shadow him for a year. Like let's just say Magic Johnson.
It's funny. I told Josh Harris that he should do that.
Yeah, exactly. So I was just saying
I told him that. I go, dude. You guys should go. If I were you guys, I would go sit with Andy and Spags and go sit down and talk to them. Like if I had a franchise, that's what I would do.
Yeah, I would, and I would try to. I wouldn't even listen to anybody else. I would try to basically steal Andy Reid's brain.
Yeah.
And I would literally take, at the end of every day being around him, just take prodigious notes and just keep filing. It could be something he said on the field when the team is just dragging ass. It could be something he said at halftime of a game, say Super Bowl 57, and they're down 10 to the Eagles. Like, what are we going to do? How are we going to fix this? I mean, it could be a player having a really hard time personally in his life, how Andy's pulling him into the meeting and sitting down and talking to him and saying and giving him the right response, like everything.
Listen, I think you're like spot on. Has he passed Holmgren?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mike had his day. Mike was a great coach. He put a great staff together in Green Bay. He duplicated that in Seattle to a great degree. Had great success in Seattle, went to a Super Bowl, didn't win it against Pittsburgh. But Mike was a great football mind, and Andy owes a great deal of his success to Mike. I mean, obviously go to San Francisco State, go coach, get started, do this, two BYU guys. But yeah, I think he has surpassed him here with his, 3 Super Bowl wins now, MVPs, Mahomes. Like, look, Mike did it with Favre, and he's doing it with Mahomes. He's doing it to a greater degree with Mahomes. You think about this one aspect of one of the reasons why it's so difficult to repeat back-to-back champions is, you have 5 fewer weeks in the offseason than every other team. Now, you just compound that over 2 years. You now have 10 fewer weeks to rest, recover, rebuild, look to the next year. Like 10 weeks more than any other team out there right now.
It's wild. It's wild. I love this kind of exercise. We started talking about the Cowboys, and then I wanted the idea, because I was going to say the thing about Jimmy Johnson from Dallas and how he built it. And then when you bring up Ozzie Newsome, nobody knows about. Like, he was amazing in that he didn't care about fanfare, right? He didn't care about the public. It's unbelievable. It's uncanny, really.
Well, he didn't want any credit. He didn't want to be in the public eye. He didn't feel it was his role. He didn't feel it was his role to stand up there and address the media. He didn't feel like it was like you saw Ozzie when they won the championship briefly in the locker room when they're holding up the trophy. And then as quickly as he could disappear, he would disappear. To this day, it's very interesting. He still goes to every home Raven game. He has his box, and I'm in the national radio box, and right next to me is Ozzy's box. And, Eric DeCosta's in there right now. But Ozzy sits down with literally a pen, a notepad, and a pair of binoculars, and he doesn't say a word the whole game. He doesn't stand up and cheer. Like, he comes and he sits down and he studies the game. He might take a note or two. It's not like he's flipping pages with notes, but he's got a pen and paper to write something down. He's still the same guy. I will never forget one year, I go out to minicamp, and they're having a practice out there, and the media's invited, and I'm walking out there, and I just hear this one little thing from Ozzy. He is like, Baldy, check out our fourth rounder. Let me know what you think. And it was this kid Barnes, Antoine Barnes. He was a fourth-round pick. He actually had a decent little career before some injuries. But he's like, nobody's talking about this. Just keep your eye on this Antoine Barnes, see what you think. Just that. That's all. Like, not like he wasn't trying to blow smoke up the kid's ass. He wasn't trying to take credit for anything. Just put your eyes on him, see what you think. But, like, the one thing you talk to all these guys that went through there. His thing was, and this is uncommon, but if you believed in a guy, say Antoine Barnes back in the day, or just say Cooper DeJean this year, if you believed in a kid, then stand up there in the room and sell it, pound the table for the kid. We're gonna tell you why you're wrong, and you're gonna have to take it. But this is what is coming. But tell us why you believe in this kid. You went to school. You talked to all the people. You met the coach. You watched him practice, warm up. Sell me Cooper DeJean, and what we're not seeing. Like, I just think that helps develop scouts. You got to stand up in front of the room. You might be wrong.
Right.
You might be wrong.
Brother,
But you have that conviction.
Yeah. You're the greatest. Again, conviction. You speak with it. When you analyze the sport, nobody's better. We love you, brother.
Thanks, guys. All right, buddy. And have a great, I don't even know what day it is, Tuesday. Have a great Tuesday, cuz, and I'll talk to you real soon.
Yeah, you're the best. Baldy! A treat today, because speaking of conviction, I would go into our next guest, and I would go conviction that he should be coaching your NBA team. Like when I said to Josh Harris, you should go get Andy Reid, talk to him about your NFL direction. I'd tell an NBA owner like Josh Harris to talk to this man because it's leg day.
Day. Leg day. Leg day. Leg day.
The great, here he is, Tim Legler. I would say with conviction, any NBA, any college program that you want a great basketball mind, you need to talk to that guy right there. Hello, Legs.
What's up, man? I love that intro, dude. That's the best. I love leg day. It's the best. It's the best.
Man, is an awesome Final Four, right? Like these series are incredible. So let's go out west because I'm so enamored by the West, and let's start with Game 7 of the semifinals because the T-Wolves are down, right? Like the Nuggets have control of that game, and it switches on a dime, Legs. How does that happen?
Yeah, I thought it was over. I'm not going to, I've seen enough to know 20-point leads in the NBA are erased at a higher degree than they ever have been because of the prevalence of the three-point shot. It used to be when I played in the 90s, if you had a 20-point lead, it was game because teams were taking like 15 threes a game as a team, right? Only 2 or 3 guys had license to shoot the shot. Now the whole roster can shoot it. You're taking 30 to 40 a night. All these teams. So those 20-point leads disappear quickly. But in that situation, with how good Denver is offensively, you're up 20 in the second half. It's like, okay, just don't turn the ball over and execute and get field goal attempts. There's no way Minnesota's running you down. And what happened, first of all, I'm going to give a lot of credit to Minnesota from this standpoint. Just mentally, to still believe with a team, and we call them a young team a lot, but look, they got Mike Conley, Rudy Gobert, Karl Anthony Towns. Like, that's not a super young. The other guys are Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Yeah, those are younger players. And Naz Reid, like pretty young guy. Those other three guys are vets. So it's a mixture of guys. But to have the belief, Anthony, that just stay with it, and we can do this, like in a game 7 on the road down 20 to that team, the defending champions, who are the best executing team in the league offensively, like just to continue to have the state of readiness. And I'll give them credit for that. So let's just start there. Like they're believing, okay? Now, what has to change? 2 things. The first thing that has to happen, you have to, like, because their offense was terrible in the first half, and Denver's defense had something to do with it, but I thought Minnesota just was inept offensively. You got to start making some shots first. Like, everybody talks about their defense and all that. Yeah, that's true. We'll get to that. But you got to first, the ball's got to go in a couple times, where then you start to think, okay, we took the lid off. Now we're in the game, because there's plenty of time to do this. Our defense will give us the ultimate chance, because we can string together 5 stops in a row if we have to do that. But it doesn't matter if we're not scoring. So that's where it began for me. And how did they start scoring? First half, Denver's running double teams and Anthony Edwards out on the perimeter. Like later in the clock, it was interesting strategy. They weren't hitting him right when he came off across half court. They weren't hitting him on his first ball screen. They were hitting him the second time he caught the ball, where the clock's down 12, 11, 10, 9. Now they're running somebody at him on the perimeter, and Minnesota wasn't spaced properly. They were not making Denver pay for that. And now you go into the half, you got 30-something points, okay? Second half, same exact situation. They're running these late doubles at him on the perimeter. The ball was coming out quicker and getting to the opposite side of the floor a lot faster. So now you got some big threes made on the weak side. Mike Conley hit a couple. Then they dumped it inside. Gobert got a couple baskets. Naz Reid hit one. Now they're also getting on the offensive glass because there's a double team taking place. There's lanes, runways to run at the glass and get second shots because Denver's out of position defensively. So Minnesota started aggressively attacking those double teams. First half, they weren't. They were back on their heels, like playing like not to lose. For second half, they were like, okay, we know where the double's coming from. We're going to get this ball out, and other guys are going to go make plays. So now they start making baskets. Now you could smell it. Denver started to get very reluctant offensively. They're playing slower. They were almost like waiting for the clock to kind of milk. Yeah. And Minnesota got up in them, and everything was contested. And 2 guys are making shots. To think about this, Anthony, the rest of their team, outside of Murray and Jokic, made 8 shots total in the game. The rest of the roster, outside of Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns, who were their 2 best offensive players, their supplemental players made 17 shots in the game.
Yeah.
You get 8 shots out of the rest of your roster. I mean, Michael Porter Jr. was a no-show. Aaron Gordon,
I was going to say, he had a horrible series. Horrible series. He had 2 games where he played all right.
Porter Jr.?
One was really, yes.
Yeah, no doubt. And that was the number one guy that you needed to make them pay because of his catch and shoot ability. He's 6'9", 6'10" with a pure stroke. You know how much attention Jokic and Murray are going to get. Those are the shots to be had. He was 3 for 12 in this game, and like 7 or 8 of those, man, are like he makes those 75% of the time when he's in a gym by himself. They're the same looks, and he just couldn't get it done. If he makes literally 2 threes in the second half of that game, they win the game. Like, the timing of the misses is so important to stop momentum. And I talk about this all the time after games because people don't notice how important some of these misses are. I'm like, all right, they just cut it from 12 to 9. You miss one. They go down. Now it's a 6-point game or a 7-point. Guess what? Now you're within striking distance. Whereas if you make that shot now it's 12 again. That feels like such an uphill climb. You're pushing a boulder uphill, and you're like losing traction when you're Minnesota. But when you keep missing those shots that you're getting, you got 4 guys behind that boulder. You're pushing that thing to the top. And so the timing of the misses was so important for them. And you add it all up, it's this perfect storm of Minnesota running them all the way down in that game. And shocked me, shocked a lot of people. Wasn't shocked that they won. I was shocked at the nature. You down 20 on the road to that team in a game 7. Come on, how are you going to do that? But yet, here we are. They did it, and now Minnesota moves on to the conference finals against Dallas.
So let's talk, because that Dallas OKC was awesome too. Like, here's the thing I love about it. It's great basketball. Just really, really good basketball. I've been. My cousin said to me the other day, he's like, "Are you watching this?" I go, "Dude, I watch it every night. I love it. It's just great ball,
I know
man."
you do. You're a junkie, man. I know what you're doing. Every night you got the games on.
ball.
Why wouldn't you? That was probably that closeout game. Game 6 was probably the most entertaining game I've seen in the entire postseason. Because both of those teams were throwing haymakers at each other in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
One made shot after another, one big moment after another. Then it comes down to that call, and I know people were kind of thinking that's a touch call. And I'm going, you're asking the wrong guy. You know why? Because I'm a shooter, and I'm telling you right now, you better protect my hands at all costs when I go up for a shot. And I know Shea hit the ball first, and we've seen that happen before, where you hit the ball and then follow through and hit the arm, and they let it go. But the difference is when they allow it to happen, when you hit the ball, you dislodge the ball in some way to let the officials know on review that was the play. You made the block, you dislodged the ball, and now anything after that is all bets are off. The ball never moved. He hit it, but P.J. Washington still had it firmly in his cradle. So then when he goes to actually now release the ball and you're hitting his arm on the release, to me, it's an easy call. And I understand why Oklahoma City fans are upset, but that's the right call. And give P.J. Washington credit, because he had a very good series. He had a rough night and was spectacular in the last 6 minutes of the game. 2 made threes, and then those 2 free throws that win the game.
I was going to bring him up to you. Like, that was the best trait. Like, we talk about how Minnesota was built in Gobert and how brilliant that move was. Well, P.J. Washington was a great move because he does everything. He stretches. Like, he gave them support. Because you always need a third guy to step up, where you brought up Michael Porter Jr. This is where P.J. Washington won that series for them, because he was their guy.
Yeah, and sometimes I wish I go back to the trading deadline that night, and I remember I did a 1-hour special show with Adrian Wojnarowski, Cassidy Hubbard was hosting, Bobby Marks was on that show, and they had me breaking down the trades of the day, and there was some bigger ones in terms of names. And then we got done, and it's like the last question was like, any other team you think that did well? I said, how are we not talking more about what Dallas just did? They just added Daniel Gafford, who was probably the only guy on Washington's roster that I liked when I watched them play. He consistently played hard every night on a bad team. They needed length and athleticism in the middle. They already had Lively, who I really like, but now you got 2 guys. Now, at no point in the game are you without a 6'11" athlete, an active athlete, lob catcher, which is important for Luka, a rim protector. And then you added P.J. Washington. Like, what an upgrade over Grant Williams, who they had at that spot, who they moved. So I'm going, we should probably be talking more about Dallas. And basically from early March, I said this team's going to the conference finals if they avoid Denver. Just avoid Denver, which they did, and you'll go to the conference finals. Now, I didn't expect them to be playing Minnesota in the conference finals. I expected them to be playing Denver, but here we are. They get the Timberwolves instead, and Dallas to me is an incredibly intriguing team. Here's one thing people don't realize about Dallas, Anthony. We talk about Minnesota's defense all year, and they're number 1 in the league overall, and they've been great in the postseason at times. We've seen it. Here's the thing. Over the last 2 months of the season, Dallas was the number 1 defense in the league. People don't realize it. You got Derek Jones, Lively, Gafford, P.J. Washington, and even Luka and Kyrie are playing harder. Now, they're never going to be shut down, guys, but they are competing, and they're rotating the way they're supposed to, and they're helping. And Kyrie in particular, some of his closeouts to the three-point line, I've never seen him exhaust that kind of energy defensively, even on nights when he's not getting a lot of shots.
Yeah.
So give him credit, man. I've actually enjoyed watching Kyrie Irving play more right now than I ever have throughout his career. And he's not putting up the gaudy numbers, but he's competing.
Yes.
And he's there mentally, and he's bought in, and he's like being a good teammate. And like, I'm like, yes. And by the way, can still be spectacular for, stretches of games. So I like Dallas a lot. I think Luka's the differentiating factor in this series. And I know a lot of people think Minnesota now it's their path to the title. I'm on record as saying I like Dallas to win this series.
Yeah, I got to tell you, you're so right about Kyrie, because Kyrie's crazy, goofy, does things. He is so locked in. Like, I was shocked by how hard he's playing. Like, he was always a tremendous player, right? Tremendous talent. But he never played defense. And, man, the level of care and basketball IQ, like, he was a smart guy, but he's been unselfish. He's been amazing. Like, he's allowed, because you need Luka to run the show. Luka has to run the show. And he's been unselfish to allow that to happen. I actually think I've been so impressed by him. I just wanted to kind of double down on it.
Yeah, well, and I want to quickly just say, like, just look at his career path. Okay, so Kyrie, number 1 pick in Cleveland, bad team. Who knows what that was going to turn into. Then they go get LeBron, and they bring him in with Kyrie, and they add Kevin Love. And Kyrie Irving in that moment, this electrifying offensive talent. But now LeBron's there. LeBron's running the show. LeBron is the leader. LeBron is the guy that's accountable for everything. He's setting the table. Just go stay in your lane, which is we're going to give you opportunities in every night where it's kind of like your show for the next 6 minutes. Go be great offensively. Don't worry about any leadership responsibilities. Just go score because you're incredibly talented. And he thrived, and they won a championship. They went to 4 finals. He hit the biggest shot in the history of their franchise, the 3 against the Warriors in a Game 7 to win that title. And he's given the proper respect. But then what happened to him was he felt like he wasn't getting enough respect. Like, he thought, you know what, I'm good enough to be the number 1 guy and lead a team to a title. So he forces his way out, away from LeBron, goes to Boston, who was a young team, had been to a conference finals, and he found out real quick, when you're the number 1 guy and you also have to lead and make guys better, he did that for 2 years, Anthony. He didn't want any part of that. He's like, that's not who I am, man. And he realized this is a hard job, so he wants out of there. Now he goes to Brooklyn. That obviously was a train wreck from the beginning. So then he leaves there, and guess what? He's right back in exactly the same lane that he was next to LeBron. And that is when he's at his best. Because you take all this other stuff off the plate, man. That's Luka's responsibility, and he's good enough to do it. Manage other guys' games, get 35, 40 if it takes that. And now you just go be great offensively. But the one component he's added here that he didn't even do in Cleveland, he is actually digging in defensively, and he's battling. And man, oh man, it's been great to watch him. And I've given him his flowers every chance I get, because very rarely do you see guys add that component this late in their career when they're known as an offensive player. You're not going to see that. He's on the floor for loose balls. He's fighting over screens. He's sprinting back in transition. I'm going, wow, what a revelation. So give him credit, man. The guy's showing all of us he really does want to win. And they're now 1 series away from the finals.
All right, the Bird Bowl in the East gets underway. And can Indiana stress them at all?
Oh, definitely. There's no question in my mind. And they listen, this is a team that is going to get a team in Boston that's going to play the exact style that Indiana wants to play. Now, New York got sucked into that style. They didn't want to play that style. And they had some games to actually success, and they won playing that style, that fast, up the floor, push the pace. At the end of the day, though, it's going to wear you out if you don't have enough depth, and New York had no depth. And it caught up to them. And Indiana kept their pace up for 7 games. And in the 7th game, they shot damn near 70% from the field. That's how fresh they were. That's the balance they had. That's the number of shot makers they had. New York completely ran out of gas. They had no other answers, too banged up, and the pace got to them. Boston's going to run this same style. And Indiana's like, great, let's go. It's Rucker Park. Let's drop the ball and let's go up and down. And I know Boston's got a lot of talent, but Indiana's like, we're so comfortable playing this pace, pushing the ball, advanced passes up the floor. Everybody touches it. It's great. So it's 2 similar styles, higher scoring series, a lot of threes taken. Indiana absolutely is going to give Boston problems, because here's the one thing about Indiana that I love. Boston has 4 great individual one-on-one containment defenders when you talk about guarding isolation players. Tatum, Brown, White, and Holiday, all 4 guys. Indiana doesn't ISO at all. Indiana moves the ball through the air, and when a guy catches it, he immediately gets downhill into the paint to create the next draw and kick action. It's a totally different type of offense to defend than what Boston's strength is, which is, you want to ISO us? we got 4 elite on-ball defenders, and we're going to make it a tough shot at the end of it. Well, that's not what Indiana's going to ask you to do. They don't play that way. You're going to have to chase the ball, and you're going to have to be on point with your rotations and your closeouts. And Indiana knows you're going to make mistakes eventually, and that's why they were one of the highest scoring teams in the league. They are again putting up those numbers in the playoffs. Nothing has changed for them, and that's why they're going to give Boston a hell of a series. I would not be shocked one bit if we ended up with a Game 7 in Boston at the end of this.
Wow, that would be outrageous. All right, who is the key for Indiana? Now, obviously, Halliburton, the whole thing, but give me the guy that that if he has a big series, he could do that. That'll be the key to 7 games.
Miles Turner is, for me, he's top. Now, Halliburton is the answer, but you said kind of, that's obvious. I agree with you. But here's why I will quickly touch on Halliburton. He is a different player some nights in terms of his aggressiveness in the first quarter looking for shots. I don't know why that is. He had 2 games in this series in Madison Square Garden. He took 5 shots and 7 shots.
Yep.
And was just basically you didn't notice him. Comes out in Game 7. He looks early. He hunts a couple deep shots. And it's like dipping your toe in the water. And he hits a couple. Now you got a problem on your hands because he's so good to his right hand off the dribble, getting into the lane and pushing pace. When he's also making threes, you got a real problem on your hands. And that was what he showed on Sunday. And that was, to me, the death knell for the Knicks. When I saw Halliburton early in that game, I was like, okay, the Pacers are in great shape because Halliburton's here to play tonight. Some nights, I don't know what it is. He just doesn't have the same aggressiveness. I don't answer for you, but that to me is Rick Carlisle's #1 speech. You got to have that speech with Halliburton going into the series, like every night. I don't care. I don't care if you go 3 for 18. We need you to shoot the ball. So that's the obvious answer. Now, the second guy's Turner.
Series, the first 4 or 5 games, he didn't score. It's like 14, 15.
Right, and then he goes for 2 30-point games back to back, and it was simply a matter of being preemptive. Yeah. Like I'm anticipating. I always say shooting a basketball is an anticipatory act. It is not an afterthought. You can't shoot and be an aggressive scorer as an afterthought. Like I caught it. Oh, damn, I'm open. Okay, I guess I'll shoot it. No, you're always expecting to be open. And when he plays that way, he's a different player. Then the other guy's Miles Turner. I know Siakam's going to be his normal, versatile self all over the place, high motor. He's going to be great. There's no question in my mind. So where does the fluctuation come? That's what I'm looking at. Neesmith and Nembhard and McConnell's been unbelievable in the postseason.
TJ's been ridiculous.
He's been incredible, man. And I love TJ with the Sixers too. I think all Sixers fans did. But being honest, did TJ McConnell ever have this level of a run consistently to what he's doing right now?
No.
He's been like the best player on the court for stretches.
Yeah.
In a playoff series. It's incredible
and he
how
scored
great
the ball too.
Wow.
And
the Knicks never solved him.
No.
7 games, they never figured out TJ McConnell. Now, I'm going to pay money. You want to talk about 2 dudes that are wired the same way, TJ McConnell and Peyton Pritchard. Oh my God. You're talking about 2 dudes. These are 2 of the quickest guys in the league. 2 of the guys with the highest, they're so like feisty, the small man competitiveness that they have, like to prove themselves every night. I can't wait. There's going to be sparks flying off the sneakers. They're so quick going at each other. That's going to be one of the most fascinating matchups of the entire series. Is going to be Pritchard and McConnell going at it. But Miles Turner has to be big in this series with shot making and rim protection. And this is why Porzingis' absence early is huge for Indiana, because Porzingis will draw Miles Turner away from the paint. You don't have a choice. Porzingis isn't on the floor. Horford can make threes, not at the distance and the consistency of Porzingis. So now Miles Turner's more of a factor in the lane against Tatum and Brown and White and Holiday. That's a big part early in the series. Listen, it is absolutely imperative. Indiana has to split the first 2 games without Porzingis. Because who knows? He might be there game 3. He might not be there at all. Who knows? Because I look at the Milwaukee series, Anthony. Doc Rivers said every game, Giannis is close. Giannis is close.
Right.
The series ended, and they asked Giannis, and he goes, I was nowhere close to playing. And I'm going, okay. So there's some gamesmanship, I think, going on with Doc. I don't know when we're going to see Porzingis, but they've already said he's not going to be the first 2 games in Boston. So if you're Indiana, you have to split those 2 games. And if they do that, I think you got a really long series on your hands.
Yeah, I that's awesome. All right, last thing, and we'll talk about this in the future after the playoffs, like what's going on with the Sixers. But just a little game. If you have one phone call and you can call the agent of any of the proposed free agents to be, or a GM to go kind of trade for your guy, where are you spending that call? Who's
Any
the player?
guy in the league, or are we talking
any
realistic?
guy within reason. So I'll say marketing.
Give me names. Give me names.
All right, marketing. Like, because the trades, obviously you got Paul George, LeBron, you got Jimmy Butler, Lauri Markkanen, and you got from New Orleans, Ingram.
Of that 5,
Yeah,
it's Lauri Markkanen. I'm going to tell you what.
I
now,
love
man.
Lauri Markkanen.
Look, Paul George. Paul George is an impressive regular season player. Paul George is not the answer for what the Sixers need, which is somebody that can come through in tight spots in the playoffs.
Yes.
And you can count. Now, Jimmy Butler, he falls into that category, but I'm at the point with Jimmy Butler where I'm just like, man, oh man, does the regular season matter at all?
Yeah.
At all? And that's something else the Sixers, they don't need that vibe. Because you know for a fact Embiid's going to miss time next year. He's going to miss time. He does every year. So, and look at the record when he was out this year with Maxey as your best player. And where does that mean? That means you're in the play-in. You're trying to survive the play-in. So you gotta be up there, man, in the top 3, top 4 in the regular season to give yourself the best chance possible. And so Paul George would be a better answer in the regular season, actually, to position you better to sustain those losses if guys go out. But in the postseason, Jimmy Butler's a better answer. But where are you going to be at that time? So I don't really love either one of those answers. Brandon Ingram, my goodness. Talk about a guy, again, some nights it's like, wow, 6'11", off the dribble with length.
Wing.
And then other nights I go, does anybody have any smelling salts? I need some smelling salts. Like, Brandon, the game started 30 minutes ago. Did you know what time the game started? Like, is that what you want? You want that? You want a guy you got to motivate? I mean, come on, man. That's the one thing I would always tell, and it's totally different level. I understand. When I was coaching my AAU guys, man, I would say some days at practice would start off slow, first 30 minutes, man, and I would scream, and these guys, every one of these players will testify to this. My big thing was, I am not coaching motivation. I'm not. I should motivate you by the fact that what I just said we need to do is the answer. That's motivation. Because you have all the information you need. That's the motivation I'm providing. I'm not putting my foot in your ass to get you to run up and down the court. And so for Brandon Ingram, I look at him and I go, my goodness, what is this guy's deal? Like, why is he doesn't, I don't know that the burning desire's there, man. Do you want that vibe? No. So of those guys you mentioned, Lauri Markkanen, to me, he plays hard. He's really versatile offensively. I think he's a nice compliment to Embiid because of the way he shoots the ball and spaces the floor. He's a very good defensive rebounder. That to me, and he's like the right age. He's not a guy, listen, if you want a guy you want to give the ball to go isolate and go get a big bucket, then no, he's not your answer. That's Paul George or Jimmy Butler or Ingram, any of those guys. That's more their wheelhouse.
You need that with Maxey because Maxey showed you that. So I don't think you need that. I think that actually makes it worse for them. I think you need a guy like Markkanen who's perfect fit in the third role, whatever that role is. That's perfect for them.
I agree with you. And look, Maxey actually playing with a guy like that hurts him. It hurts him.
Yes.
So now you might not have found the answer because the guys I mentioned are either they're a little bit older, they've had some issues with injuries or postseason performances, and it's like, is this the answer? Is this where you want to go, or do you want a younger guy that's more consistent that actually still has a number of years at peak level? We don't even know if Lauri Markkanen, you've seen the best of him yet. Like he's turned himself in. I remember when he came out of the draft and he was in Chicago. I remember people thinking like, oh man, like, he's a bust or he shouldn't have been picked that high, whatever. And it's just like he moved around a little bit and he ended up in a spot, and he just takes a certain set of eyes on you to unlock something. They see something in there, and that's what they have found with him in Utah. And this guy's a big-time offensive player, man, and he fits with Maxey and Embiid. So if that were possible, have at it. I looked at their salary situation yesterday. I was just looking. I go, they got nobody under contract except Embiid. It's wild. Like you talk about a blank page, man. Oh man, this is the ultimate blank. Obviously, they're gonna max up Tyrese. That they should do, and they can afford another max guy. So they're gonna do something great. But right now,
the marketing thing is you got to trade all those. They're gonna want the 5-1s or whatever they're gonna want. And
right.
At this point, you got to do it. Like at this point, forget about it. Like just do it.
It's because of Embiid's age and injury history. You have to. It's time. It's time. You take those chips and you shove them to the middle of the table.
Yeah, to your point, those other two guys are older. Like that's a disaster waiting to happen because once the run expires, they're done. At least you can go forward with Maxey and marketing.
Yep,
I'm
I agree,
with
man.
you.
Look, I love Lauri Markkanen, and actually, Oklahoma City had an opportunity to make that move at the trade. Now, here's what's interesting: Utah was really struggling, and Markkanen's name was all over the place. And Oklahoma City's I think they've got 872 first-round picks in their closet, right?
Yeah.
So you're going, okay, wow. Can you imagine Markkanen on that team? So I'm going, should he do it? I said, absolutely, man. Whatever it takes, go get it. But it's funny. Right at that time, Utah won like 8 games in a row. And all of a sudden, they went from buried with San Antonio. Now, all of a sudden, they're like on the cusp of the play-in. And you're like, wow, they changed their thinking. So then they started to try to win games. They went past the trading deadline. And then after that, they went in the tank again. And they started losing, and they ended up with the season they had. But that's obviously now revisited. I think Markkanen is a guy that a lot of teams could plug in because of his style of play. He's efficient because he's a catch and shoot mostly. He's athletic and runs the floor if you want to run. And he's a very good defensive rebounder. He's not a liability down there. He gives tough rebounds. So I think he would be a great fit with a team like Philly.
Yeah. Legs, I love leg day. It's the greatest. What's your schedule this week? Where are you headed?
Oh, my goodness. So I'm in New York right now. Headed to Bristol tonight. I'll be on Sports Center at 6. And then after game one, I can't remember. Is it East or West tonight? I don't even know what the schedule says. Game one of one of those series is tonight. I'm on after the game on Sports Center. And then I go to D.C. for Van Pelt Wednesday, Thursday. I'll be at the Jersey Shore for the weekend, baby.
Yes.
Breaking in Memorial Day. And then I'm in Van Pelt all next week. Monday through Friday after all those games, I'll be on there breaking it down with him as soon as the game ends.
Love it. You're the greatest, brother. We love you, man. Love leg day. There he is, the great Tim Legler. Wow, that was a fun, back-to-back Baldy and Legs.
All-star jam-packed.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
JP, you want to tell us about some of the stuff?
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Let's talk.
Of course, I ran right through.
Absolutely. It was great interviews, of course, guys. And of course, we had Jimmy Gorecki early on this morning, and as he was leaving, we were shooting stuff a little bit, right? Having some conversations, talking about cutting back a little bit on the beer. So I was telling him about Olipop because the guys on Saturday, the PHLY Phillies tailgate, the people at Cavs Catering, they were coming back for some Olipop because obviously they couldn't drink the beer. So Olipop, guys, it's a fantastic drink. It tastes just like soda, but the catch is it's actually good for you, and that's the beauty of Olipop. It's the world's first functional soda with that classic soda taste and the benefits of plant-based fiber, prebiotics, and other botanical ingredients to support that gut health. And Olipop is new soda with 2 to 5 grams of sugar and 9 grams of fiber per can. And the best part about it is that they are available in over 30,000 different retailers, including our favorite Wawa with their recent launch there. But also available on Target, Sprouts, Wegmans, ShopRite, and of course you can order it late night with Go Puff. But here we got you covered with that promo code as always, ladies and gentlemen. If you use the promo code PHLY20, you'll get 20% off your next Olipop order. However, this discount only applies to one-time orders, not the subscription orders, and Olipop is sold online at drinkolipop.com and on Amazon as well. And ladies and gentlemen, it is currently now 11:02 in the morning here on the Anthony Gargano Show. We want to thank you guys for tuning on in. If you guys are enjoying the content, do us a solid. Hit that like button and subscribe. And when you subscribe, also hit that bell button. That'll let you know exactly when the Anthony Gargano Show is live. And of course, For everyone here on Twitter, welcome. Thank you, everyone, for tuning on in. If you're watching here on Twitter, make sure you guys are subscribing there on YouTube as well. We are live every day here on the YouTube channel, PHLY Sports. And here's what's on the docket here at PHLY Sports today. At 11 a.m., right now, it just started. PHLY Phillies podcast is going live right now. At 1 p.m., we have PHLY Flyers. I'm sure they're going to still be talking about that Meatlocker. At 2:30, we have PHLY Sixers. And then at 3:30 today, PHLY Eagles will be live there as well. And while we're talking about it, guys, you can see it at the left corner on the screen if you're watching live on YouTube. Guys, you got to become a diehard, all right? Becoming a diehard, you get not only exclusive content from all of our great beat writers, we are going to implementing video calls as well. So guys, keep an eye out for all of that. We will continue pushing that because I know you guys want to talk to the cuz. So make sure you guys are becoming a diehard. It'll get you access into that Discord. And that, my friends, will get you the instructions of calling in here on the Anthony Gargano Show. And of course, guys, with the diehard, you get discount on merchandise. Make sure you guys are checking out that PHLY locker. We have great swag on there, including Anthony Gargano's 4for4 t-shirt. That's what we got here at PHLY Sports. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning on in, cuz.
Appreciate it, JP. All right, so let's go to the clubhouse. Violations, Greg Caputo.
Yep.
And, of course, John Zapata, our man, JP. All right, boys. First of all, real quick, I love marketing. I've been saying it to Vinny, our operations GM over there. I would do whatever I can to get marketing. I just believe in he's the right fit, and I'm glad Leg said that. So I feel real good about that. Maybe that's what I'm going to talk to the eel about during my dreams.
He might be my number 2 choice. I think LeBron here would be fun, but marketing is the perfect complement to Embiid.
They're going to have to find that stretch 4, though, for sure. I mean, marketing, yes, you love marketing, but the trade aspect of it makes me a little weird. Give him whatever.
It's Danny Ainge, right? So you know you got to give him everything.
Five. Yeah. Give it up. Give it up. Who cares? Enough. Go for it. I'm done. All right? This is it. No more. No more. You got to try.
If you're going to go all in.
And I don't want Paul George or Jimmy because, they're right. At this point, it's the same thing. And
go young. I get it.
They're going to want to go. That's going to hurt Maxey because they're going to dominate them. They're going to want the basketball.
Yeah, to put the ball in Maxey's hands, cuz.
Yeah. So anyway,
it's almost like karma. When, Ainge really hit the process with the Fultz. So, give us Laurie.
You owe us.
Yeah.
You owe us. All right. And, of course, Jimmy Gorecki was fantastic.
Oh, that was an awesome
And Baldy's
interview.
always great. So
Baldy partying at the mansion.
Yeah. The Jerry Jones mansion. All right. Clubhouse, time for VG's Nugs.
Give us some nugs.
So, hit us, brother.
Yeah, all right, man. It's Dallas Stinks Day. So there's a fraud Dallas fan I saw last night watching my Oilers beat up on them Canucks. Owen Wilson in the crowd last night. Full Canucks gear. He's a Dallas guy. He's born and raised in Dallas, lives in Texas. And then the Oilers are playing Dallas next series.
Why is he all about the Nucks?
He's chanting, "Let's go Nucks," and he's all in. Yeah.
Why is he a Nuck guy?
He's a Canuck Cowboy LAFC because he was at the MLS Cup final when the Union lost to LAFC too. He was sitting front row for that one.
So what is he?
No one knew. Even the announcers were like, "He's a Dallas guy. Why is he in Canucks gear?"
Really?
They're like, "Maybe he's filming a movie here."
Yeah, listen, he loves Vancouver.
He's a knuckler.
He likes BC.
Could be filming a movie. They have good
That's
tax
a good
credits.
point.
Good tax credits in Vancouver.
But we talked about Kevin James. It's like
all about the tax credit.
Listen, that's the only way things get done. All right, what else you got?
Well, I think we're ready to go. This happened just moments ago. We had a little studio mishap while you were on the air. The curtain comes down behind.
He makes those 75% of the time when he's, in a gym by himself. They're the same looks, and he just couldn't get it done. If he makes literally 2 threes in the second half of that.
Yo, I heard that.
What was that?
I'm like, I don't know.
Legs brought the sun.
Is the whole thing. I always wonder about this building and how long it's got.
It feels like every day there's something.
It's got some ghosts in it, man.
You never
some energy
know.
here.
I see the bricks. During the earthquake, I saw the brick dust.
The dust.
Right? I'm like, could this thing kind of tumble down? Like, how would that work? We're on the 7th floor, so, you call it a rat. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Mike, what else you got?
Mike Tyson's out there. He's got a fight against one of the social. I don't know who is it.
Logan Paul.
Logan Paul.
Jake Paul. Yeah,
Jake Paul.
Yeah.
So they did their all hype up press conference where they try and rile each other up. So Mike Tyson has some unusual words to get back at the Paul guy.
I want to kiss Mike's big juicy lips.
He wanted to kiss me?
He said he
Indeed.
Huh? He said he wanted to kiss you.
That's so ironic that he said that because I saw a picture of him dancing at 16 doing that little dance on YouTube, and for some reason I had an erection.
Wow.
Whoa, Mike. What? That's a cringe.
That's a line.
How does that even remotely qualify as a burn? Like, what is he
What was
thinking?
that though? Like they were trying to get some clicks, huh? Get some people.
I don't think they're the clicks they're looking for.
Yeah, I don't know
That was
about that,
weird.
man. I think that's creepy.
I think Mike is somewhere else.
That's a creep.
But even
That's a
Paul
creep.
starting off saying, "I want to kiss those
Yeah,
juicy
that's a
lips,"
little
like
weird.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. No, it's all highly creepy.
What are we doing here, guys?
Odd exchange all around.
Yeah.
Totally weird.
There's Andrew in the box.
Yeah,
Andrew's
yeah.
in the box. What else
Bunch
you got?
of Philly off day yesterday. There was the Aaron Nola bowling event, but I guess 4 of the Phillies went out to Victus Bats for the day.
Yes.
Took a picture on the 4-wheelers.
Nice.
It looks like Stott, Marsh, Stubbsy, and Clemens.
All right.
Is that Clemens?
I want to bring this up. I'm glad you brought it. I'm glad you mentioned Marsh.
Yeah.
So the Phillies had their charity. We were talking about this pre-show. They had their Phillies charities, right? So they have all kinds of great auction items. One of the auction items is for Marsh to play mini golf. 30 minutes, you get to play mini golf with Marsh. Guess how much it went for?
Well, we know.
I don't know,
Okay.
but I would say due to his popularity with women, 12 grand.
Go ahead. What's your guess?
Well, I mean, I thought this was going to be like less than 5,000. After what you told me, I was shocked.
I didn't tell you I didn't tell you the number.
All right, I'm saying 5,000.
Well, he said 12.
Yeah, I don't
So
think.
it's higher than 12.
But I don't.
$28,500.
Are you kidding me?
Did you know that?
No, I thought you said it different. But that's insane.
No, I
That's
didn't
even
say
crazier
it.
than what I thought it
On
was.
Sunday, it was $15,000.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That's
Yeah,
what I said
Andrew
this
said
morning.
that on Sunday. Yeah,
15,000.
It finished at 28,000. Thanks to
For 30 minutes?
For 30 minutes?
Yeah, it's
not
30
even
minutes.
around.
What are you doing?
So
two,
our buddy
two
John
holes?
Foley does a great job. I love John. Covers the Phillies for our all PHLY site. 28,500. He was there last night.
That's outrageous.
28,500.
Who's paying that?
But here's the beauty is that people love. First of all, they love this team. They love the daycare, right?
Yes.
Between Stott and yesterday, Stott was doing a commercial at Primo's.
Nice.
So it was great. So you had Stott, you have Bohm, and they love Marsh. Everybody loves Marsh.
I mean, listen, I'm new to this golf world. Andrew's introducing me to this golf world, but I would say that's a little bit steep for maybe for Bryce.
This isn't golf. This is mini golf.
Mini golf.
Yeah.
I thought this was like on the course
No.
too.
30 minutes.
Yeah, no.
30 minute mini
Mini
golf. Play
putt-putt,
miniature
man.
golf.
That's like $925 a minute.
I mean, it's great for charity. It's for
Or-
charity.
That's
Yeah.
expensive putt, cuz.
No, it's awesome. You got any more?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, man.
So my people in the
I can never
building.
tell when you're done.
My people in the. I'll let you know when I'm done. People in my building, in my network, were in the building, and the people missing were Marsh and Bone. I'm figuring because they're younger guys, probably out on the town instead of this event with all these married families and girlfriends, and Harper. But Harper, we got video of he was out doing some goodwill amongst the town as well. Do you see this video? Harper helped a guy ask a girl out to the prom.
Ah, let me hear.
Oh my God.
Hi, Julia.
I'm going to cry.
How's it going? Jake wants to ask you prom, so I thought I'd help him out. You want to go to prom with him?
I want to.
So are you going to prom with him?
Yes.
Awesome. There you go. You got it.
When she hugs Bryce first.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna
I love it.
Can I
gotta
hug
tell you,
Bryce?
Only in Philadelphia. And Harper's the great. It's why we love him.
He's
Right.
awesome.
He's the best. Bryce is the greatest, man. That is fantastic.
All right, we'll finish up one more. We're going football. You got the bird shirt on. The football fish was seen in Oregon on a beach. It's only been seen 31 times.
Ugh.
This thing lives between 2,000 and 3,000 feet below sea
that's
level.
awesome. Look at that fish. It's a football with a mouth. Look at that thing.
Thing's nasty.
That's
So
a cool looking fish.
while you watch that,
It's called the football fish?
yeah, and while you look at that football fish, apparently males being 10 times smaller than females, they find a female to fuse themselves to. They lose their eyes and internal organs, getting all their nutrients from their female partners. And in return,
I know how that feels.
in return, let me know if this rings a bell. In return, they provide females with a steady source of sperm.
Married life.
Football fish, man.
Yeah.
That's
Just cranking out
fantastic.
sperm all day.
That's
Nothing else.
Damn.
That's fantastic.
All right, now I'm done.
The football fish. That's great.
dude.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us. Great stuff.
Good stuff.
JP, VG, everybody, thanks for hanging. And do like JP said, do us a favor, right? You're watching on Twitter, go to our YouTube page, just subscribe. It's free, all right? You're hanging with us all the time. We love it, all right?
There's a good chat going in there. The picture's a little better in the YouTube world. Yep.
Yeah, so check it out, all right? We appreciate it. As always, we love you guys. Thanks for hanging with us. Be safe. Go Phils. See you in the morning.
We all silly like the mayor.